What's up? How's it going, dude?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great as always. Of course, thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this. Of course,
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, always love to have you on. Always a great time with you. So, after a couple of appearances that you already made, but they were both as roundtable guests, I figured, shit, it's about time you kind of do a solo show and tell, So,
hey, man, I love it. And dude, I looked it up because I was trying to think, when was the last time I was on? It was a year ago. Holy shit, man! It doesn't feel that long, but
it passed quick, right? Like,
woo, yeah,
I know. Hey, everybody. Sorry, didn't mean to ignore you.
Hey, guys.
Tons of comments. Real quick before I get to you guys. Before I don't want to forget, just a real quick shout out. My latest sub was an anonymous person. Whoever you are, I thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very appreciative of you as always. Also wanted to mention that our buddy Carl Sodergren from Carl's Collection has put out another unboxing video. So please go check that out. I'm putting the direct link to that video here. And that's a pretty interesting unboxing from a very currently popular artist. So please do go check that out. And what else do we have that I need to give a quick promotion for? Oh, gosh, after what seems like 5 months, I think it's more like 2 or 3 months, our buddy Jason Kim from Comic Art Channel has finally put out a video. It was actually a one of those reviews of the latest Heritage auction with Yo Curry. And I like those. I don't typically like reviews. Typically, I'm the kind of person who's like, I don't really give a shit what some dealer guy or some two dealer guys think about whatever auction, things went for at auction, whatever. And I'm like, well, I just don't give a shit. Whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
But Yo Curry as a guest together with Jason Kim, I like it because first of all, it's shorter, well, about 90 minutes typically. But what I like about it is they're like me in the sense that they keep it real. They don't mind when they see something that went for a lot, what they think was a lot, and they think it's crap. They kind of say that they think it's crap. And then they apologize, of course, in case anybody's watching collects that kind of crap. But at least they're being honest. Whatever. I can appreciate the honesty. So
I've got a couple of those shows, man, and I like them. I like them both. I like Jason and Monsieur Andy.
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah, I'm never sure whether he wants to stay in his Batman identity or whether he wants to be Bruce Wayne.
Exactly. That's why when in doubt, if I don't know, if I've never been told, I always just go with the fake name because
stick with Batman, right? Yeah,
they may not want it, right? So better just to keep it. Keep it to the alias, But yeah, so everybody, please check that out. Oh, look at him! Speak of the devil. Hey, Jason, the link I just put in that was for your video. In case you didn't hear me say that stuff. So there you go. I just shouted out your videos and we talked about you and Yo. I love that Yo. I love having to say, hey Yo, what's up, Yo? I love that. So, all right, let me see who's here tonight real quick, everybody. And hello, Jason Ladwig. What is up, Mr. Red Jack? What's up with you, sir? Hope you're hanging out a little bit tonight. Rick Welch, what's up? Number one Marvel fan, as always. What do we got? My lovely wife. Hello. Vivian, the most loyal fan of all.
Hey, Vivian.
Ian Saint, what's going on? What's this? Bummer, I was hoping to put a fact to a name. Well, he kind of just spilled. He did spill it really quickly. So if you want to rewind, you'll get a fact to a name.
I think he meant face. He's been
right. Yeah. Oh yeah, and he corrected it. There we go. He corrected himself.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Someday, what's this? Someday, hope you have a blast. Are you leaving? What?
I'm reading between the lines here. I'm assuming there was a prior conversation where they were supposed to meet somewhere at a con.
Oh, okay.
And they're not.
I do believe that's it. Okay.
I'm pulling the detective act here right now.
Yeah. CJ, what is up, sir? Good to see you. see you, me, Eranga. We see each other on Instagram. It's such an incestuous little online community, you know?
It is, man. Just as long as no one's having babies, we were good.
No, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Little Spoon. What's up?
Oh, Jeffrey. The love of my life. What's up, man?
What's up? In a minute. You wanted Eranga? You got Eranga.
I am here, Marcus. I'm here for you.
What's up, Marcus? Bears Beats Battle. Oh, by the way, congratulations to you and to the rest of you 49ers fans. I just wanted to say, though, that was a horrendous decision by Love on that last throw of the game, because they were coming down and it looked like they could probably at least tie it up or whatever. No, like who if you're in high school, you already know. If you play football, even if you don't play football, but you like to watch it, you know if you're a quarterback, you do not run in one direction across the field and throw across your body to the opposite side of the field.
It's amazing when it works. It's amazing when it works.
Right, but it rarely does. Like most of the time, you're going to get them intercepted because you don't have any strength behind the throw. Come on. Well, I can't believe he did that. I was like, oh my God, what a way.
Now, that game threw me for a loop, though, man. I did not expect Green Bay to, stand toe-to-toe with those guys.
Yeah, I know. But, yeah, good game, whatever. It was fun. Yeah, baby. It's you guys versus us guys, Lions. Unfortunately, playing in your stadium, so that's going to be a tough one. And you guys are obviously favored. I think we're like minus 230 or something, but whatever. Should be fun. As long as it's fairly close, I'll be happy whatever happens. So, $100 watch per game.
Strong stance.
Wow.
Strong stance against football.
Hey, exactly. Hey, Kenneth.
Hey, Rubén highlighting Ruben's comment.
What's that?
It's like Rubén highlighting a Rubén comment.
Yeah.
JC, hey, how's it going, man?
TJ, what's up? And who else we got? Okay, I'm catching up finally. TJ, Kenneth, the same guys. You're welcome, Jason. You're welcome. And CJ, Murdoch. What's up, Murdoch? And Dan. Good to see you as well, Dan. Maki Poopu, as always a pleasure, my friend. And Carl, I shouted you out. You'll see it when you rewind. Having art babies, that was, I guess,
the incestuous thing.
Oh, yeah. Jewish Dragons, hey, what's up, buddy? Glad you can make it. Great. They played okay. Yeah. Whatever. Like I said, it was pretty good. They were playing well. Congrats to Detroit. Thank you. And the last one, all these shows are always about colonoscopies and football.
Well, we'll keep the tradition going here, man.
That's it.
We're done with the football segment. Colonoscopies next.
Yeah, we exactly. We finished football. Now the shit starts. Right?
Ooh. Hopefully not, because you're supposed to go in. Dude, I haven't gone in for one yet, because I think it used to be 50 and now it's like 45. Is that right? Am I thinking it's like the first time you're supposed to have one?
The what?
My doctor either really wants me to come.
No. Oh, yeah. They keep saying 50. Yeah. But
it's gone down now.
Other times they kind of, some people will say, but 45. It's the problem is that depending on where you live, it's not like settled at one or the other. So a lot of places will still have the doctors telling you, well, just wait a few more years. You're okay. Yeah. Wait until you're 50, so even if you kind of want it or whatever, you can't get it or whatever, so
I thought I had like 5-6 years left. Oh, it is 45 now. Shit, I'm in trouble.
It's 45, but I don't know.
March I turned 45. I think I can stretch it out.
Look at that. Carl's loving your sponuary submissions.
Oh, thank you, Carl. That's too kind. Appreciate it.
Cool. Carl, I wanted you to know. Nikki B. What's up,
Nick?
Thank you. Yes, everybody, if you don't mind, please just hit the thumbs up real quick. I never ask for anything. I don't ask you to subscribe. Just hit a friggin' thumbs up.
Hey, Nick, congratulations on your appearance on that list for is it Tripwire magazine? Am I saying that right?
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah. Nick was like in the top 30 most influential people in the industry kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Congratulations, Nick.
Yeah, congrats, Nick. Wow. Yeah, thank you. Thank you as always for rallying my lights, man. I appreciate it. 45 or 10 years before the age of person had colon cancer in the family. Okay.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. talking about colonoscopy and thumbs up. I like that one. Yes, exactly. Are we talking about colonoscopy? Hey, look, on my show, hey, I'm the one who started. I've talked about shit on my show plenty of times before you ever mentioned the word colonoscopy on yours, Nick. You know that. So I got dibs on the shit on the shit talk, I guess. So I saw Eranga's contribution to the OAX auction. Oh yeah, that was another cool piece. Yeah, looked great, very impressive. Yeah.
Thank you, Jewish Dragons. I appreciate that.
Yeah, mob connection, perms, red pens. Yeah. I wanted to let you guys know that we're gonna get into it right now with Eranga and the show and tell. But Carl, just because you mentioned the piece and Jewish Dragons mentioned the piece that Eranga had done, one of his own pieces. I just want you guys to know what a modest friend we have here. What a modest guy this guy is. When I asked Eranga to come on and see if he wanted to do like a show and tell, I actually asked him what I wanted to do was do a show and tell of his own art, not of his collection, just his, not even a mix of both. And he was so modest. He was, man, dude, I appreciate it, but like, nah, it's just I'm not that kind of guy. I don't want that kind of attention, whatever. And so I just want you guys to know the kind of person he is. So I would have been more than happy to do it with that. I've been kind of like keeping an eye on him for the last 3 years and how much he's progressed, and it's just been exciting and fun to see. And I'm so happy for you, Eranga. So I was just like, shit, this would kind of be like an obvious next step. Yeah, let's just have fun and let's show your art. But like, I get it too. Like I get the kind of it might be a bit weird, if you're a modest person in general. So I get it, and I appreciate that. So
well, thanks, man. Like I said, I genuinely appreciate like you making that offer.
Yeah,
I would be cringe fest. Like pretty much like I was when you were saying nice shit about me right now. Like that
you're cringing.
That would have been me throughout the whole show. It's just, yeah. But thank you. I sincerely appreciated that first overture. Yeah.
No worries, man. My pleasure for sure. John Brown, good evening to you, sir. Some of us Eranga art owners can share our pieces in a panel and then talk smack about it.
Hey, I'm totally fine with that. As long as I'm not around and I'm watching it somewhere else. Maybe not even live. I might just watch it on rewind.
Okay, guys, a quick segue here because we got Kavi H in the house. Okay, listen, what's up, Kavi? Everybody, a lot of you already know because he's posted on social media. Kavi very recently had a real bad accident slipping on ice. Really did some serious damage to his leg. All right. I'm not going to get into all the details, but if you follow him on social media, you should already know. He's in the hospital right now. Basically, I'll tell you quickly, broken leg, fractures in multiple places, all kinds of shit, cuts, bruises, whatever. He's going to have a long road to recovery, probably measured in months, not days or weeks. And tomorrow's Kavi's birthday. So please take a sec to wish him, keep him in your thoughts. If you pray, please pray. And yeah, man, wish him all the best. It's been a tough last 12, 13, 14 months for him already last year. And it's just continuing. And it's just sometimes, man, that people have the worst fucking luck. And really, he's always been a good guy to me, a great friend to me. And it kills me to know that this happened to him of all people. I wish you all the best, Kavi. And yeah, everybody, please keep him in your thoughts, as I said, and wish him a nice, happy birthday, and wish him all the best. I'd appreciate that, and I know he'd appreciate that.
Happy early birthday, Kavi, and shit, man. Hope you get better soon. I was looking forward to like a reformation of the Brown Mafia at OAX, but we're gonna be one down. We're gonna be one down, Kavi, but you'll be there in spirit, bud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what the timing also sucks big time. It's like, yeah. You're welcome, Kavi, for sure, man. And look at that, James in the house. What's up? And good wishes from everybody. Really appreciate that. There you go. Happy birthdays. And sorry to hear. Yeah, it's terrible. Happy birthday. Excellent. There we go. I love that. Love that when the community comes together Good day from Oz, all the way from Oz. What's up, David? He's known as the Bionic Ankle. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have some kind of weird hardware in there for sure. So there you go. Good day, Eranga from David Barr, all the way in Australia.
Good day, mate.
There you go. Yes, East phone is on silent. Good job.
It's on silent, bitch. I ain't no rookie.
All right, everybody. Let us get into this, everyone. Eranga, you ready to go, man?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds good.
Yes.
All right. So for tonight's show and tell, which I believe is number 35. I want to say 35 or 36. I think 35. We are what I decided to do is I didn't want Eranga to feel bad, and I when he said he didn't want to do a show and tell of his own artwork, I decided, you know what, maybe I'll sneak in a few pieces, but then I was like, nah. if he's you know, as modest as he's told me he was, and he made it pretty clear, I gotta say, I was like, nah, I don't want to make him feel weird and awkward and shit. So I'm like, I decided literally, Eranga, I did not sneak even a single one in. I figured, well, you know, I'll give you some props vocally, verbally. We'll talk about it a little. Keep doing your shit, because it's been, like I said, awesome to see what you've been doing the last few years. Just keep it up, man. And no, we will focus. Every piece tonight is from your collection and none of your personal pieces. So there you go.
I appreciate it, man. Just to let you know, there was a little part of me that's like, he's gonna sneak one in.
Yeah.
I'm a feeling he will, but I wouldn't have. Yo, I would have sucked it up like a trooper. But
I know you would. But I thought, you know what? I'll have full respect instead of just 98% respect for you. I was like, but believe me, it was hard. I wavered. I kept wavering for like hours. I'm like making my slides, right? I'm already up to my 20 pieces, and I'm like, should I sneak another one in with his art? Like, I don't know, you know. And then it was hard to choose. I was like, yeah, but which one? Just to put one piece, I'm like, which one would I choose out of everything you've done? I'm like, I'm going to spend hours trying to narrow that down. I was like, nah, you know what? He doesn't want it. I'll leave it alone and leave it at that. You know,
dude. I thank you. I'm also like super curious already about like what. It's an interesting format, right? Like I'm very curious about what you picked that you thought were either that you gravitated towards or thought were interesting enough to talk about. So I'm super stoked about just on that level.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just in case everybody, like, I have no idea what he's pulling up.
Right.
So if I fuck up an artist's name, that's on Rubén.
Yeah, as I usually do. I am the picker again of tonight's selections. For those of you who are not aware of what Eranga collects, you know, what if you don't know him much in terms of as a collector, as opposed to as a YouTube personality, as some of us tend to be now. Eranga has, for the most part, been primarily a commission collector. Although having said that, if you look at his gallery, and you can do so by hitting the link right down below here in the description, as always, and his social media links are always down there as well. If you take a look, you'll see he still does have quite a lot of pieces that are not commissions, that they're published art. So what I decided to do, I'll rather than completely surprise you, what I decided to do is, because it's not just about me, obviously, right? It's not just you and me shooting the shit. So I definitely pick things that catch my eye or I gravitate to, like you said. But at the same time, I also have to, you know, knowing that there's an audience, I also want to pick things that I think the crowd will like this piece or that, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I kind of think of it that way as well. I got to take everybody into account, you know? And so with that in mind, I can tell you that I pretty much made it an even split, half commissions, half published. You know, at first I thought you're primarily into commissions. So I was like, I'll make it like 3/4 commissions or whatever. But I was like, I'm thinking of the audience, and I'm like, yeah, a lot of people, right? They collect the published shit. They don't care about commissions. A lot of guys who love commissions only don't really care about, you know, they publish stuff. And so it's half and half. So, okay, equal number for everybody. And this way, you know what?
Good way to do it.
yeah, appreciate all of it, right? And that's it. So
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go, and I think that's that's the right thing to do. So
While you're pulling that up, David Barr asked about the
yeah,
DD.
I noticed that right here. Yeah, that's
That's
killer.
whoop. That's Gerald Parrell.
Oh,
And he did this. He actually did it live on a show, and I immediately I loved it. It's like you know what it reminds me of? Reminds me of like a 70s spy poster, like a 70s
yeah,
movie
yeah,
spy
exactly.
poster, you know.
Yep.
So
And
yeah, that's who that is.
And that's is that fully original?
Yes, it's all hand drawn. Is that what you meant?
Wow.
Yeah, it's all hand drawn.
Wow.
Man.
Wow.
There's pencil, there's watercolor, there's acrylics, and ink, of course. But yeah, totally hand drawn, man. It's one of my favorite pieces.
It's phenomenal. That's just a commission he did for you?
It wasn't a commission. Like he was just on a live show. I can't remember when it was. It might have been. It was like the Kirby's art group. They were all together.
Okay.
They were doing a live show at something.
Yeah.
And I saw it coming. I saw the concept coming together, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like he's gonna absolutely fucking nail this." So,
Wow.
So I emailed.
Oh, did you email him right away while it was happening, or after when he finished it?
He had just put the reds on, and I was like, "Nope, I'm gonna try to jump the queue here." Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's really cool. Nobody up until that point, like the people who typically follow or something like that, nobody was saying, "Hey, can I have?"
There were people in the chat that were like, "Hey, I'd love to have that. That's cool," and blah blah blah. I was like, "Well, shit, you know, I'm gonna beat all of you to it and email him first." So,
wow. All right, Nick, take it easy, man. Have a good night. Thank you again.
Bye, Nick. Thanks for dropping in, man.
And yes, everybody, one last time, please hit that thumbs up right somewhere beneath this part of the screen here somewhere. I'd appreciate that. Thank you. The Iger Sanction-esque. I don't know. That went over my head, Rick. I'm sorry.
I'm assuming it's
Hey, what's up, George Hodge? Popping in
George.
Again, Tyrell is a beast. Yeah, it's a killer piece. Like I said, the reason I asked you if it's all original is because I don't know. It struck me as it looks like a print of some kind. I was like, oh wow,
yeah. He nailed it, man. He absolutely nailed it.
Yeah. David loves it. So yeah, I think we all love it. I don't know how anybody could look at that and be like, I'm not really kind of into that. Like, I'm sure there are plenty who would say that, but I don't get it. That's all I'm saying. I don't get it, right?
I've got an empty spot here because I've been moving frames around, and like I took some art out of the frames because we're about to go to a show and there's a little bit of a show and tell thing. So I took something out of that used to be the spot for my Dale Keown Hulk. Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying, Rick. I appreciate it. All right, everybody, let us get into this. And all right, so to start off tonight's show and tell, number 35, I'm going to start off actually with a published piece to throw you a curveball, even though you're more of a commission guy. But we're starting off with a banger. I mean, a lot of this shit is banger stuff, but whatever.
And then just going down from there. Number 20 is going to be like the shittiest.
No, ask anybody. Typically, I try to sort of make it so that it's kind of like going up from there all the way to the end, but it's hard to do that. So it's half and half, you know.
Marcus, I don't own any DC art. Well, that's a lie. I do have.
Barely.
I have a Wonder Woman Death. Dead Earth. That's about
barely.
That's barely DC.
Yeah. But okay, everybody, let's check out his first piece of the evening. Check this out.
Oh,
yeah! Come on, come on, bro.
Dude, this was and I love Ghost Rider in terms of I loved it. I love him as a character, and like when I was reading, I'm not so much into the books now, so I was but I was crazy into the visual of the character and the artists that have drawn him, etc., etc. Didn't matter whether it was Danny Ketch or Johnny Blaze. Danny Ketch was mostly my Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
But more than all of that, this was like and so I usually get him as a commission request, right? So I have 3 characters that I usually go to based on the artist's strength. This was a nice confluence of the two, where Pepe Larraz, man, I mean, this guy, I mean, he's a generational talent. I think I'll run that term into the ground.
Yeah.
But it's also difficult because he does a ton of his stuff digitally, right?
Yes, exactly.
And then even his most well-known work, House of X, all the interiors were digital and some of the covers too. So when he chooses to do a traditional piece, it's usually for a cover, and they sell like hotcakes, man. I mean,
I can imagine.
As soon as they put it out, someone grabs it up. They're not cheap, etc. So when this one popped up with his earlier reps, I knew it was going to go on sale on a certain day. On that day, at that time, I reached out. I got lucky, and I got it. This thing is a sight to behold, man. Really is. I mean, it looks beautiful like on screen, but there's a real like fucking heft to the paper when you hold
really?
it. Oh, because I mean, there's so much ink on it. There's some screen tone on it as well. There's gouache. There's a little bit of watercolor. There's ink. It's insanity, man. And there's microns in areas that you wouldn't think he was using microns in. It looks a little like screen tone, but there's cross-hatching work that he's done. I could talk about that one to death.
I mean, that's the see. I was surprised. I'll tell you why. I was surprised about the thing that you said that the paper has heft, simply because I know why when you do that type of art, right? It's mixed media.
Yeah,
you should get a thicker stock, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, in this hobby, and at least in the years I've been in, I'm constantly shocked at how many mixed media type pieces I've seen. And the artists still just do it on whatever standard bristle board.
Yeah.
Right. And it's all wavy, right? Because of all the water it has absorbed. And it's like, wow, why don't you get but whatever. It's just that's how they do it. They don't
It's also a little bit about how you prepare the paper as well. If you pre-stretch the paper and you like kind of tape it up, you can get some of that back. I mean, the same thing happens with, watercolor paper, which this one is on. It's pretty high quality watercolor paper. It's not Arches or anything, I don't think, but it's pretty high quality water paper, and there's still like a little bit of waviness to it. You can't completely ignore that.
Of course.
But and when I talk about the heft, it's the heft of the paper, but also the heft of all the traditional material added to it, and it's a sight, man. All the whites and the blacks and I'm sure if you're a traditional art lover, which I'm sure everybody here is, just to kind of run your hands over it and just kind of feel it, If I ever when I bring it out, don't run your hands over it. I don't like it. That's for me.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, everybody. You should all know, in case you don't, when you see anything other than pen and ink, for example, mixed media pieces with paint or wash, any kind of other media, you really shouldn't be touching it too much. As the owner, I get it. When you see texture and stuff like that, you want to kind of like lightly, it's okay a little bit. You're not gonna do anything bad to it, but don't constantly do it, and don't let other people keep touching it or whatever. That'll be bad. So
and to clarify, I did it when I first got it because there's sometimes when you can feel like what the material is that they were using by doing that.
I
am not, but I will. Okay, I just finished a piece that I did for myself because I was fried from doing commissions. There's a mental aspect to it in terms of like trying to think up an original idea or something as close to possible as an original idea. That takes the most time for me. The drawing itself, yes, it takes some time, but it's not that much. So I was fried. And so I did something that I did it for me, but I will be offering it up for sale at some point next week. Mm-hmm. When we get an organic break, I will show it. I will show it to you, Marcus.
And Jason asks, does Eranga wear the Psylocke wig when he is touching his art?
I do not. I only wear the Psylocke wig when I'm being touched.
I don't know if that's supposed to be like, or
James has seen it. That's probably why.
Okay.
I just wrapped it up a few hours ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
that was quick, James. Wow, you got the in with Eranga. Marcus says that you wear a glove.
I do wear a glove when I'm touching my art.
All right, everybody, let us check out the second piece in tonight's show and tell. Why don't we? So from there, we move over to. And by the way, Eranga, just so you know, because as I picked all the pieces, a lot of the non-published stuff either didn't have a description or the description was very, very brief. So sometimes I couldn't tell.
Right.
Was it a commission? Because I like to actually differentiate personally.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a detail-oriented person.
Yeah.
So if you didn't commission it, then what I like to do on the slides is I like to write, let's say, Ghost Rider illustration. Right? Like if it was something that the artist did of their own volition, and then let's say sold it to you, I don't know, on some kind of website or YouTube or whatever. To me, that's illustration. But if you are the one who commissioned it, I like to always know and put commission. So I will 100%
clarify it when it comes up. And the stuff that you're talking about, I think I know exactly the era if you pulled it from my calf, because it was early on. Like,
I knew that.
I'm just gonna put this on there, and then
it was
like, I guess I was like fully talking about it.
Yeah, I was fully aware, but I was like, you know what? The guy's busy. I'm busy. I'm going to do my best judging on what I'm reading and seeing or whatever, you know. And so let me know if there's any, keep a note on these pieces and let me know if I got any of them wrong, you know. Just curious.
You got it, man.
Okay, man. Let's check out the Doctor Strange.
You're actually right on the money on this one. It is, in the category you described. David Williams kind of did this as a pre-done piece. That he did a bunch and he was going to sell, and I'm not a Doctor Strange collector, so it's a little bit outside of my but like
very much so. I was thinking kind of very much. I mean, it's Marvel, but character wise, it's, I would say, very much out of your usual collecting sphere, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, like stuff like this, because I see Doctor Strange pieces. And he's a character that, so many guys have great takes on Doctor Strange. So regardless of whether I have an attachment to the character or not, he is a character that I'm really heavily considering kind of adding to Commission Roulette.
Oh,
yeah. And this is a great example of it, man. So full disclosure, I've gotten to know David really well over the last couple of years. Okay. Yeah. He's been kind of a mentor to me. He's a super kind guy, especially to other up and coming artists. Before I talk about the piece itself, I'll give you a little bit of background. In the beginning, like when he started seeing my work, he would comment and he would say like, "Hey, you're doing a great job." And I'm sorry, I'll talk about the art too.
No. I like to, since you're not talking about the piece, I'd rather have the eye contact with everybody.
Right.
We'll go back.
He would say nice things, blah blah blah, and then like, so I don't like doing this because it's sometimes you never know how people take it. So I reached out to David, and this was like about 2.5 years ago, maybe 3, and said, "Hey, David, like, is it okay, like, if I kind of reach out to you? Like, there's a piece I'm working on that I have a little bit of a mental block on." And he was like perfect about it. He was like, "You know what? Here's my phone number. Call me up." And like I emailed the thing to him, and we talked over the phone, and and he helped me kind of get through that block. And he also he's given me fantastic advice. Or like he's really good about telling me, "Hey, I think you're doing this here. You should stop doing that."
Oh, cool.
And I was like, man, you nailed it. Like he'd look at a piece and he'll say, "I think here's what you had in your head, and here's what you did." Especially when I was doing earlier silhouettes, when I was trying to figure out the negative space stuff. Okay. There was a piece I did where I got lazy. I couldn't really figure out how to do the negative space. So I put a halo around the character instead of letting the background bleed into the character. And he was like, "Dude, stop doing that. Like your whole thing is this. Be consistent with what you do." And so stuff like that. anyway, that's the backstory to it. So David and I have had a really great relationship, and still continue to. He's the nicest dude, and really generous with his time.
Awesome to hear. It's awesome to hear. There's a lot of guys.
They're not, and you don't want to ask because of that. And the only reason I even kind of took that leap was because he'd been building up to that. Like, hey, here's what you should do. Kind of giving me examples of how when he broke into the industry, guys who gave him a shot or kind of helped him refine his work and stuff like that. So he takes a lot of credit. There's definitely stuff I still kind of apply today that David saw in my work, and he said, you should probably refine this aspect of it. So, you can take it one way or the other. You can reach out to people. I know people that'll reach out just because they want them to tell you how awesome you are.
Right.
You just want to hear the plaudits, right?
Right.
And they get kind of defensive if you point something out.
Right.
So I've had people reach out to me, now asking for stuff, and I get a little bit like, well, shit. Like, I almost want to ask them, hey, what do you want? Do you want me to just flatter you, or would you like to really, whatever?
You want the truth? Or
I'm not going to be an asshole about it. I don't want to be a dick to anybody about it. But just like, hey, here's some things that you could fine tune. And David wasn't a dick to me. Like, he was just like, hey, here's some things you could do. Anyway, long tangent. I apologize. That's David Williams. That's the kind of dude he is. Mikhail, what's up, bro? And that's the kind of dude he's been, and he's been kind of awesome to me. So anyway, when he posted, I have a couple of David Williams pieces. So when he posted that Doctor Strange, he and I had been talking about it when he was working on it, and I was like, David, I want it, and he was like, it's yours, man. And just like David, like he cut me a deal on it, even though I didn't ask him. And but anyway, to the piece, the colors are fantastic. The pose, I love characters in profile. Okay, I feel like characters in profile, there's so much emotion you can kind of get. There's a moodiness to it that you can add to it. A lot of commissioners don't like getting characters in profile. They feel they're getting ripped off. So even when I'm working on commissions, I try not to put them. But God, man, you can get so much. You can convey a ton of emotion with a profile shot and mood. And so this one's kind of like that in that sense. The fact that he took all that damn time, man, to use a green liner pen to do his astral form.
Yeah, is insanity. I've been kind of waiting for you to let me just say that how much I love that he added the astral form right on the left side there. It's just
anybody. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just want to say it just adds. It's not like it's not, it takes up, I don't know what, it takes up maybe 10-15% of the entire image, but it adds so much to the overall thing. I feel like it would still be a cool piece without that, but a little bit, less interesting, so to speak.
If I'm being frank, if the astral form hadn't been on it, I probably wouldn't have bought the piece.
Oh, cool. So that kind of sold you then, right?
Yeah. And you know what? Anytime someone makes an excuse about, hey, there are some things you can do digitally that you can't do traditionally, blah, 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 blah. Well, shit, man. Sometimes you can find a way to do it. Look at this, right? Like you would think this was a digital effect, but he found a way to use his traditional tools and granted, he is very skilled at what he does, but yeah, he found a way using traditional tools to put that effect on paper, which is awesome.
Yeah, even Carl says the same thing, right? And he loves the addition of the astral form. It's his favorite part of this one. Yeah, it's
absolutely, man, absolutely.
So,
and there's a wildness to the watercolor on the cape. There's chaos happening in the background, but it's still I love the hands. I don't know what he's doing. He's summoning something or the other. It doesn't matter to me. I really should. I really am heavily considering, because I see Doctor Strange pieces that are incredible that people are putting out there, and so I don't know. It might be a subcategory of commissions.
Right. Number one Marvel fan. He just told you. What are you asking if it's a keeper?
So maybe sale in a few. No, that's I never call anything a keeper, but
I never say never, I guess. But I mean, whatever.
But the fact that
literally months ago.
Yeah, it's David 1. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where we've had an entire show about selling commissions or unpublished stuff.
Exactly.
It's not worth getting, even in the future. I would not get out of it what it means to me and what my appreciation of it is right now. So
there you have it, number one Marvel fan.
Yeah.
Marcus, who's taking interest in the chat? Not sure who you're referring to.
Maybe he's talking about I'm taking. Oh, maybe he's talking about I'm taking. I'm feeling out.
Oh,
what the situation may be in the chat.
Carl says definitely one of those personal piece gems. The story behind it just as good as the art itself. Yeah, for sure. That's what I love about it too. And like you said, you've got that personal relationship with him now, so it's you know what I mean. It's one of those things where I know if it was me, I'd be like, yeah, for what this is worth, anyways.
Right.
What's it really going to do to help me, right? Whatever little money I can get. It's not like it's some, $20,000 piece that can make a difference in your life or whatever.
At most, I would maybe get what I paid for it. And it's even if that weren't the case, man, like the personal value does not meet the realistic value.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Yeah, sell for.
Yeah. Stop doing commission. Only like to buy scene in hand. Oh, look, a lot of people do. They don't like, you know what, number one Marvel fan, I don't think you were, correct me if I'm wrong, and I apologize if I'm not, I can't remember when everybody started watching any of my content, obviously, but when Eranga and I and a couple of our friends did that roundtable episode all about collecting commissions, we kind of, we covered all those topics, including the one that you're talking about, for those reasons that I know you're bringing it up for. So if you haven't seen that, you should check out that episode, because
you totally should. There'd be a lot. There's people who had stuff like that in common too. Yeah. So I understand.
Yeah, exactly. The washes work so well. Hey, what's up, Jason? Eranga, do you still have a certain row commission in your possession?
I do. I have a stack of shit that I've been promising people I'll put up for sale that I've just not had time to do it. So yeah, I still do, Jason.
Okay. It wasn't the Blue Line episode. I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, we've talked about Blue Line on my channel.
The Blue Line episode, and the only reason I know this is because I went back to see, hey, when the shows that we did, it was the show about nothing that we did that I made
the other roundtable
that I made the mistake of like, hey, let's talk about Blue Lines.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, it's just that it's like people in the chat have brought it up on so many different episodes that So for me, it's like it all melds in together.
Yeah. We talked about it on the show and regretted it immediately.
Yeah. But I do remember now. On that particular episode, that was awesome, actually.
Yeah.
I always enjoy it. It's always a good conversation, So
it was assembled. Oh, did Jason show up? Oh, there he is. My favorite bottom cookie. Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
All right, everyone. Let us move on to the next piece. So for that, we go to a piece that I would say I would not have expected from you. I don't ask me why. Well, I mean, okay, character-wise,
just like the Doctor Strange.
Yeah, exactly. No, but character-wise, I get it. But I guess the artist is not something I would have thought. Okay. But again, it was interesting. And by the way, never even heard of this comic book. But then again, it did come out not long after I quit collecting back in the 90s. So
now I'm hoping I know what it is when you put it up.
All right, let's check this out, everyone.
Hey, okay, so this one's a little bit of a cheat.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So I love Leonardi. Like most people, I came, his Colossus miniseries that he did at the back of, I think it was Marvel Comics Presents or whatever. He had like backups running that eventually became God's Country. So that's where I really got my love of Leonardi from. And then of course, like compounded by Spidey 2099. I very rarely do this. So you picked when you said an exception, you picked an exception. I never read this fucking book.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah, so I've never read this annual, but it had Cable on it, and it's Machine Man, but mostly that bottom panel with the old school Avengers.
Yeah.
It's the most bootleg team of Avengers that I remember. Yeah, I mean, it's got Dr. Druid on it, like right there, bottom right corner, Dr. Druid.
Yeah.
I think this was. It may have been Roger Stern and
Roger Stern. Yeah.
Roger Stern and John Buscema maybe were on the book at the time.
Yeah,
but
Drew
it's just
at the time.
Yeah, it's just I'm gonna insult somebody, but it's a lame-o group of characters, but they're still so affectionately kind of regarded, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess by some people, if you ask me, like, I think the worst lineup ever, I guess this was not too long after, was like when you see, I remember when, look, as a teenager, I'd be like so excited when a title got to like the 100th issue, or 200th, 300th, 400th issue, whatever, those anniversary type numbers, and I was so disappointed to get to like Avengers 300 and see like half of the Fantastic Four and the shittiest half. And then it was like, what's his name? The Forgotten One, Gilgamesh, the Forgotten One.
Yeah, Gilgamesh.
Fucking Forgotten One. It's right up there with, it's even worse than Dr. Druid.
Yeah,
like, what the hell is happening to this team? Like, it's like, you talk about the worst Avengers ever. Like, oh.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But it was I agree, man. But it was really that bottom shot, just because it was like, that's not a lineup you see out there. I love Leonardi, blah blah blah. He stopped collecting at 300. Looks like you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
I was thinking you were gonna say like the 90s, the mid 90s, or the early 90s lineup, which was one of my favorite lineups of the Avengers.
Yeah.
And again, it was a nothing group, man. It was like Black Knight, Cersei, Hercules, Crystal, Vision. Black Widow was the chairman of the Avengers. But I just, that it's kind of like the sweet spot of when, I started reading. And I thought you were going to say that. I knew you were going to break my heart, man.
Well, no, but listen, I always tell the truth, my truth anyway, certainly, which I always believe to be the truth. The one thing I always say, though, like because we refer back to these moments in time, and I know that for me, for example, like, it's funny, because we look at ourselves now in this hobby, and like it's made up of like mostly 40-somethings and 50-somethings right now, okay?
Yeah.
And you got a smattering of 30 and 20-somethings and a smattering of 60s and older, right? But primarily the bulk is in their 40s and 50s. But even just a 10-year difference, what I've learned over the last few years, it makes such a difference, because where I'm like, oh God, that early 90s shit, that shit that made me quit collecting and reading comics, right? But I understand that at the same time, there's a bunch of art collectors for whom, just as I was getting out because I was so sickened by how shitty it all got, and again, I was 23 at the time,
right?
So a full-grown adult, right? But at the same time, there were 8 to 13-year-olds getting in, and I know for a fact, I think we all know that when you first get in, you fall in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that you're exposed to, that's what you love, because it's the first thing, right? So if whatever you see, whatever is out at that moment, you get exposed to it and you like it enough to keep reading it, start reading and keep reading it, you're going to love it forever, right?
Yep.
So I would never, even if I say something is trashy to me, I'd say it with the full understanding that there are plenty of people for whom it's amazing. Right. But I also know that a lot of the amazement is because, well, you were kids at the time.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to make it sound like, oh, like I'm insulting.
No. Let me add a clarification. Let me add a clarification to that, right? Like, so that early 90s to mid 90s, something Maki Poo said, there were actually some good stuff that came out in the early 90s. You had to find it. But there is a thing, like, you can look back. I can look back and look at the stuff that I was reading then and say, this shit does not hold up, right? I can be like, this shit does not hold up like it does in my memory, blah, blah, blah. But there are others that still do, and even the ones that don't hold up, right? That I can understand. Man, this is objectively bad. Like, like anyone could have read it. It's objectively bad, but you can't divorce the love you had for it when you read it. So you can acknowledge that and still, your head looks very shiny. I'm getting distracted.
Yeah, I know. That's okay.
No,
just Derek wants to know is more than. Come on, Derek. Gilgamesh, the forgotten one.
Oh, what about D-Man? He was a homeless dude.
Yeah, they're all up there. They're all up there. But at least D-Man, you could say, like, okay, they ripped off Wolverine's costume. He's at least connected in some way to a cool character. But like Gilgamesh, everybody, if you don't know who I'm talking about, please just Google Avengers 300. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And that's it. Like that. Come on, Dr. Druid. At least kind of you can say, well, if you love Doctor Strange, you can say, okay, he's some kind of magician ripoff of Doctor Strange. But some loser with a horned furry helmet, like covering his nether regions with fur, like he's a cave. Like, what's up with that? Like, whatever. Like, and you made him an Avenger for Avengers 300, the 300th issue. Whatever. Garbage. I don't think anybody can be worse than that, but okay, whatever. And I just want to say real quick, because James is saying, because it fucking rocks and you have no taste, Rubén. Hey, listen, you don't even know what I'm talking about, James. You don't know what issues I'm talking about in particular. Right now, I'm not really even saying particular issues. I'm talking about characters, But yeah, no, I just whatever. I got fed up when I got fed up. But like I said, I think we all can say, even things that I love, and people still get mad at me when I say it. But I'm like, listen, I've gone back to the things that I loved as a kid, right? And I love them because I do believe I love them because as a kid, your brain hasn't completely developed yet, right? You don't have the same ability to critically think about stuff, right, and properly critique it. So you love a lot of stuff. But then I go back and I'm willing to admit certain things don't hold up. And I've said this on a bunch of my shows. I say that about Secret Wars and everybody gets mad at me. But the people that tend to get mad the most are the people who, like, I was 14, I think, when it came out. And I loved it, okay? Then I read it again in my, 30s or 40s. And I was like, it's okay, but it's like, whatever, And all these guys who today are in their 40s, who were more like 8, 9, 10, 11 when they read it, like, I still love it. It's awesome. I'm like, okay.
Well, let me put it this way. There are people who trash the 90s, okay? That are like, oh, the 70s and the 80s were, what's it all? Ian, I was just about to say, Ian's like probably the only 30-year-old art collector that I know. So he's an anomaly. But there are people that trash the 90s. And I go back and I try to read the books in the 70s and some from the early 80s, man. And there's a lot of shit that would not have captivated me as a comic book fan. Like there's stuff that people hold up as examples of, oh my God, this is when comics were amazing. And I'll go back and read it and be like, it's fucking garbage. It's hot garbage. Like, what are you talking about? Like, the art sucks. The story is dumb as shit. Like, so it's every era was not putting out home runs. The Sentry is the forgotten one too.
Is that what he's known as? Or is that what the joke is? Is he known as the forgotten one?
The whole thing with the Sentry when they first debuted him was he'd been a hero decades ago, and everybody forgot him. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Yeah. I can honestly say I never read a single Sentry story, so I have no idea if he's good or not, or interesting or not. All I know about him is Romita Jr. did some work.
Mini was amazing, but Marvel just didn't know what the fuck to do with him after that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So there is something good with him.
Vulcan and the Forgotten X team. Yep. Those are retcons, though. Like there's
Marcus Secret Wars.
Of course you do, Marcus.
You see, Jason's right though. Never meet your heroes and don't reread your comics. Oftentimes that really is. I'm scared. Like I often want to go back and reread some of the old comics because I haven't read them since the 80s or whatever, But then I'm like, yeah, but I really liked it. I don't know if it's gonna hold up, and I don't want to ruin my memories of it,
Same thing applies to movies you loved when you were younger,
right,
or like cartoons, or Tell you what, Transformers, the cartoon, like the movie, that shit still holds up.
Does it really?
Shit, man. I can recite every line of dialogue from that movie. I'll still watch it today.
Wow. Okay, I'll take your word for it, man. But okay, everybody.
It's been a decade since I watched it, but
yeah, okay. But you were still
in my 30s.
Full grown adult when you watched it, so right.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on it at that time are probably still valid today, I would think.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, okay, everybody. Eranga, I thought we'd get a quick one in, but boy, we love talking, and it's not just me. It's
sorry, dude. That was on me. I went on 2 tangents. I went on a David Williams tangent, and then I went on like you picked the piece and then we started dogging on Avengers 300.
That's it. That's kind of my fault. It's always my fault, but this time it's not only my fault. That's all I want to put out there. That's all. But okay. All right. So let's check out the next piece, everybody, in tonight's show and tell. And for that, we go to this one. You'll see a lot of this character tonight.
Cable. No, Ghost Rider. Yeah. yeah. So
I really loved it.
Dude, Jeff Spokes, right? Like, he's so underappreciated. So I found him he was doing a lot of commission work at the time, and he'd done some cover work for I believe Top Cow at the time. He's starting to get a little bit of traction now. Okay. At least that's what it looks like. But this was so
sorry to interrupt. Sorry, let me interrupt you. Sorry, Eranga. I just want to ask, because I always I've seen this guy's name for a long time.
Right.
But in my head, as soon as I see this name, I think, oh, eBay guy. Like, that's not to say that I remember him selling, commissions on eBay. What I mean,
right.
when I refer to anybody who I think of as a non-published artist as an eBay guy. And
gotcha.
Right. And so I always thought of him like that. But you're saying he did interior work in the past?
Yeah, he's done interior work. Not necessarily anything, or at least nothing that I've read. Okay. But they've been like titles that I'm familiar with just by name on Top Cow books. So he had a run doing some covers there. He'd done some interiors, but not a lot, right? So he was doing a ton of commissions, very affordable for what he was putting out. He does, I love the perspective on this. He's very thoughtful in how he does it. There's a lot of montage pieces that he was doing at the time that I really dug. He's an ink heavy guy. And that's right, George. Yeah, Quan is snapping him up. So that should tell you something at this point if you were trying to get a commission from him. Sorry, Quan. But yeah, man. So this was a commission. Absolutely. I'm trying to remember whether this was the first one he did for me. Yeah, it is. I think this is the first one he did for me. So I reached out, just asked him for a Ghost Rider. There were no instructions as such. He asked me whether I wanted Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch. A lot of the time when I get that question back from an artist, I fucking love it. That means they have some kind of connection to it. They know they're familiar with the character, So I told him I didn't, and he went with Danny Ketch. And I love this thing, man. I love it. I love the the low camera angle on it, the chains coming to it.
Yeah, it's very cool. And thank you, George, by the way, for dropping the knowledge for us. So Quan has been snapping up some of his published art and putting it on his site. Okay.
Yeah, but even beyond that, I think they're working on bringing him on board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So a very cool piece. And from there, let's go to the next one right away. This one is, I got 2 slides for this because it's a double page splash, everyone. And let's check this out.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude. So I, again, loved Ian Churchill's art, like when he popped up on the scene, right?
Oh, sure. A lot of people did.
Yeah, it took him a second to. He evolved like really quick. Like, he used to have this style where he had these narrow faces, wide eyes, and later on, I found out that he was he was instructed by Marvel editorial to draw more in the house style under the Jim Lee. His natural style is a lot more cartoony, but putting that aside, I've been slowly picking up at the point multiple examples of his Cable run, because that's the one that really stood out to me. And then this sucker, and I thought I had some decent panel pages, but I wanted that that statement piece, right, from him. And so when this came up on Heritage, I was like, all right, shit, I'm gonna make a run at this thing, and I did. And there were a couple other people that were as well, so I definitely paid to get it, but it satiated my need for any other Churchill Cable stuff, just because. You got Cable here. You also got Cable in that hologram. I really, really love, one of the things I really love about this is the roll call. It's an old school X-Men roll call, right? So you got the characters, but you got little caption boxes that say Dr. Mario Taggart, Charles Xavier. I also love the fact that it's got Phoenix and Cyclops on there, and a little aside that says Cable's parents. So his Storm is also like freaking gorgeous, man. So you got Cable, you got Blacksmith, and you got that '90s team of X-Men. I'm pretty happy. If I could only have like one example of Churchill, this one does it. Yeah. So it was worth what I had to chase to get it.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was thinking about you when this piece came up for auction, because I know my buddy Simon K,
right,
also a big Cable fan from this era, and I hadn't spoken to him at the time. I hadn't spoken to him in a little while.
And he has some nice Churchill shit. He has covers and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I was like, oh, I wonder if he's going to go after this or not. And I don't know if he ever did. I don't know if he was one of the underbidders or not. But it's pretty cool when I saw it appear in your gallery. I was like, okay, so that's cool. I'm happy that you, another Cable, really super big Cable fan, got it.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I think I may have said it in my write-up as well. Like, I really started getting into Cable once they started filling in his backstory with, like him being Cyclops' son and Madeline Pryor's blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, the miniseries. So, he went from, he's a cool visual, to getting like a well-rounded figure with that backstory, and having, and it being from an era where the captions and the lettering is still on the page. I really appreciate kind of having that little blurb there, which
sure
says Cable's parents. And God, they messed it up with that color hold on that hologram.
Yeah, the color hold is just like, so that's again another of the many examples over the years where I tell people, this is why it's so awesome to be an original art fan and collector. Yeah, because when this is all you've ever seen,
right,
suddenly you see this and it's like, oh yeah, what the hell? Look how much art disappeared.
And there's a lot of time they'll do color holds in another color, even on the physical paper. Like, they'll do it in red and mark it as a color hold. I'm just glad he just did the whole thing in black and white and inks, and you get to see all the effort he put into it, because he did put a ton of effort into that freaking hologram for it to just basically be. It's so easy to. It's so hard to read when you look at the published page. So I was very, very, very happy to get this one,
man. Let's see. It looks like shit in color. Yep, it looks like shit in color.
James has a nice one. He's got a vertical DPS with
the vertical one. Okay,
all the X-Men in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, the one right before Age of Apocalypse. It's a really nice one.
Yeah, that's a cool one. Okay, very cool. Pretty, very, very cool piece. Next on the agenda tonight, everybody, we are going to go to a piece featuring a character, one of the trifecta of characters that Eranga loves so much. So why don't we take a look at this one?
Oh yeah, man. So this it's really funny. This was like very, very, like, as you can see, 2020, like that was right around when I started collecting. and getting into commissions, I'm in this group called Sketch Prices that really kind of helped guide me as I was wandering through the woods like a fawn. And Wesley Dallas Merritt had a few things kind of out there on that site that people were sharing, super reasonably priced. And because I saw this and I had to pull it up, I can tell you I paid $140 for this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It just goes to show. It goes to show, right? Like if you are willing to, if you're into the idea of getting commissions or whatever, there are if you look around enough, there are really high level quality, what I call an amateur, and not in a disparaging way, but somebody who, right, is not a working monthly type artist, who still have like high level skill and talent, and because they're unknown, they often don't charge a lot. So that's what a steal for that. Like that's a giveaway. He might as well have given it to you. That's how cheap it is.
No joke, man. And it's watercolor. There's pencil work on there as well, like color pencil work to supplement the watercolor. This will tell you how early on in the collecting it was. I gave him a choice between Ghost Rider, because I wanted to see what he does with the flames, Mystique, and Daredevil, I think. And I didn't know which one he was going to work on till he was done. And then he was done, and he was like, "Hey, I picked Mystique." And I was like, this is a great example of why I started choosing Mystique for a lot of my color commissions. There's a reason. There's a reason I kind of have that triptych of characters I go with. Because if there's an artist that really leans into horror and I think can do a good skull or whatever, I'll choose him for Ghost Rider. And if there's someone who really goes to town on tech, I'll get him for Cable. And then for color, Mystique is a go-to. And in the early days, it was Mystique and or Archangel that I would go. But Archangel, a lot of artists would like just be, I don't want to draw those wings. So I just defaulted to Mystique. And man, this is still, I really, really love this piece. And, when you showed me the show graphic, one of the show graphics, and this was on it, I'm really glad you picked this because it made me dive back in and find it and look at it. It was framed at one point because it was in the early days, and then I replaced it with other things as I bought them. But I really did like kind of look over it again, and he's done such great work, man, on it. It's crazy because for a while there, when I first got it, I didn't even notice where her pupils were, and she's actually looking at us through the side eye.
I can see that. Yeah,
and it's easy to miss that, but. Yeah, man. Wesley Dallas Merritt. He's also a tattoo artist. If I'm not
really?
mistaken.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very, very cool. Yeah, really, really, really beautiful piece, especially for that money. Wow. How did you say $140?
$140 back in like June, July 2020. I doubt it's that now, but
no, but still, I'm sure it's not like tremendously more either.
No.
Yeah. Hey Karen, lovely to see
Karen.
you. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. If anybody watching tonight, now live or later on, if you're watching this on Rewind, and if you are into commissions, Wesley Dallas Merritt.
Yep.
Look it up. Google him, I guess. Find him and shit, because that's.
I really should look up and see if he's still doing work, man. Just because he was doing this as a side gig while he was doing his other stuff. So,
yeah, he wants the real Raven. Who's the fake Raven? I don't know what he means by that.
I wonder if he's talking about the Titans Raven.
Well, that's kind of what made me think of WMD, Weapons of Mass Destruction. I don't know. What
and Wesley Dallas Merritt. I think he got his letters.
Yeah, right. Maybe he's talking about Weapons of Mass Destruction. Who knows?
Or he's talking about that other artist, Wesley Merritt Dallas.
That's right. Let's see here. So I want the real Raven, and then we got What's the 19 on your? Oh, that's just the number I've always used for sports my whole life. So that's like, this is what you would see my name and number on the back of my jerseys. So I just had that printed on the cap. So Jason wants to know Rebecca Romaine or Jennifer Lawrence.
Man, neither. I hated the movie depiction with all the. It looked like she was
stupid.
It looked like she was a leper.
I've gone on a rant about that on one of my previous episodes. That whole scale thing with that scaly. Yeah. The worst.
This what a choice.
Movies. I just want to say this. I've said it, but I want to say it again without going on a rant. The movies. I don't even give a shit about the movies anyways. I don't even watch most of them. But what I really hate about them is when they use characters who you know right away is not going to translate well to screen, or probably won't, right? But they insist on using them anyways, and Hollywood knows they won't translate. So what they do is they still use them, but completely change them. Yeah. So it's really only the character in name only.
Also, I don't understand why add the fucking scales, because they did Nightcrawler without, the same skin. They did Nightcrawler without all that nonsense.
Exactly.
They did, and it's like they didn't learn a lesson, because once they went to the Jennifer Lawrence Mystique, they did the same thing. They added the friggin' bullshit on her face. So
yeah.
But in general, Rebecca Romaine over Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. Okay.
Rebecca Romaine Stamos, not Rebecca Romaine O'Donnell.
So the younger one is what you mean.
Oh, that's how you interpreted it. That's not how I
interpreted it. Oh man. I will say I discovered her for the first time ever when I happened to be I was flipping through in 1992 or either late 92 or early 93, whenever the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue comes out. Mm-hmm. But it was that like school year, right? 92, 93. And I'm flipping through the issue, and it was just a gorgeous, gorgeous photograph of her lying on the beach and just looking right at the camera, and the camera's right on her face. I was like, oh wow, man, she's this chick's gorgeous, it's really beautiful. And I was like, oh, Rebecca Romaine, and I'm like, oh, okay, what? I've never heard of her before. I guess she must have been that was when she was starting her career. And then I guess it was a few years after that she suddenly, I guess, hooked up
into acting
and got into acting and all that, whatever,
Yeah.
But that's what I remember her from, just seeing her in the as a model,
Right.
So it's pretty fun. Jewish Dragons is letting us know that Merritt apparently went to the
wow. QB. I had no idea. Oh,
so
insider info.
That's
good to know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scales hide nipples.
That I can't argue with that one.
Did she end up working at MTV? I didn't know that.
Maybe she's saying MTV era. Scales make for a cool effect much more if they don't care about effect. Dude, you can have that same fucking effect without having it come from Scales. Get out of here.
Come on, Chuck. Are you Chuck? Are you saying you like that look? Like
Chuck is saying he likes his women like he likes his fish.
Scaly. All right. Okay. Well, no. And by the way, Chuck, we know they don't give a shit about the fanboys or whatever.
Sometimes to the betterment of the overall product. Yeah. Occasionally to the betterment of the overall product. Yes.
But let's not get into. Don't let me go on a tangent about Green Goblin, okay? Because I'm gonna go nuts, and I've already done.
I'm gonna corral you. I'm gonna corral you, Rubén. No tangents about Green Goblin.
Okay. Look at Derek. Or Gilgamesh. Which is worse? Gilgamesh is still worse. All right, how about that?
Probably Gilgamesh. Yeah.
Okay, everybody, let us jump back in to the show and tell. And from there we go to one of your favorite let's just show it. Here we go.
Go. Yeah, I don't know if people are tired of hearing me
I know, but you don't have to go on a long one because you've talked about it a lot on different channels.
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. No, dude, I'll talk about it all day at some point.
Yeah.
So people know I got that commission from Dale Keown, and this was 383 was the issue where I figured out, oh shit, sequential storytelling, blah blah blah. These things are connected. Long story short, this came up for sale during one of the CAF lives, right? And it's, dude, it wasn't cheap, right? These are exponential leaps in spending for pieces of paper, but I don't think I would have been able to forgive myself if I'd been able to let it go. And what was funny was the seller was overseas. I couldn't find anyone that actually knew the seller. So this was kind of sending money out into the ether to someone I didn't know personally. Yeah. A lot of the people I talked to didn't know. Turns out he was a really nice guy. It was great to work with, shipped super quick, very secure, showed up. And it's fantastic, man. I also like the fact that I love the supporting cast on this book at the time. So to have Rick and Marlowe and Betty kind of, in there on the inset panels, it's not exactly a full page splash, but it kind of is. Because it is a splash page with inset panels, right?
Yeah, it's a splash page with 3 inset panels. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah. And so I feel like I really got what I want. I'd given up any hope of finding anything from 3. It's a very specific thing to look out for, right? By the time this popped up, I was like, holy shit, I cannot believe it. And not only is it a page from that book, but it's a really nice image of the Hulk, with the little bird's eye perspective and stuff. And I remember thinking this was, at one point while I was looking at it, I was like, oh, he's using a little bit of a fishbowl effect, right? Because of the door. But it's just the door is flexing because of the Hulk's weight. And that's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's using, I thought it was a little bit more of a fisheye perspective, but it's not.
No.
Love this page. It's kind of hanging up on my wall.
Yeah, it's cool
in front of me. That I still have the book. It's that first book that I have from that Incredible Hulk issue. So
yeah, your original copy bought
the original copy, dude, torn to shit, ripped,
bought at the airport.
What? Yeah, you remember? Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Bought at the airport, man. That's it. Yeah. So it's a super meaningful page to me. Again, there's the never say never, but that's gonna stick around for a while. Yeah.
Whether it does or not, whatever. For now, you love it. That's all that matters. It's with you now, and it's a great page. So awesome. All right. So from there, we go back to visit another one of your favorite characters again. But I really loved this piece when I saw it. So I was like, okay, I really gotta show this one. So let's check this one out.
So this one was not a commission. Okay. But you would think it was. Like everything matches, right?
Yeah.
The character, unpublished, this was for sale. It was on the secondary market. So someone had put it up, and I was like, "Oh shit, there it is. That's exactly what I want." I loved, the color work on it, and I'm gonna add let's add a little bit of a backstory to it. I don't. So Ardian Syaf, right? I don't know if you're aware of the situation with him. So he's had. I'm not gonna go into like detail with him, but he's been problematic. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Right.
He's been kind of problematic. He kind of sabotaged his own career by being problematic. Right. And I personally am at the place where I would never reach out and commission him for anything.
Right.
Okay? And so like I was at that point. I think he's phenomenally talented, incredibly talented. But just from a personal perspective, I wouldn't commission him for anything. However, looking at this and seeing how beautiful it was, and the fact that I was giving it I was giving this money to another collector, and it wasn't kind of going
Yeah,
into his
yeah.
pocket. I did the necessary mental gymnastics to
Yeah.
say, all right, I'll do it. I'll get this one and I'll put it in my collection. And it's there. It's I still really like it. But I've got some complicated emotions about it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I put up the Marcus's comment because I got to say I'm glad that he did that. It says it looks like he's talking because upon first glance, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, it definitely does. I'll tell you what, I hadn't seen it, but like the second he said that, I was like, yeah, it 100% does.
But I gotta say that even myself, and I don't own it, you own it. Even myself, I was like struggling with the decision. Do I show this one? Because I could easily, take the attitude of, well, I don't want to promote that guy. Right. And I don't own it, so I don't have to show that. There's a bunch of other shit I could show.
I'm glad you put it up. You put it up. On related to that as well, I have a cover from X-Men. But it was Blue Line Ink by Craig Young, and Craig's a friend of mine. Okay. So the pencils were Syaf, but the Blue Line inks are Craig. So I found that as another gymnastic exercise where I could justify, hey, I'm giving the money to Craig, not to Homeboy. So, but they're there. They're there. They exist as their own art. Show up as Cameron Stewart next. No, I don't have any Cameron Stewart.
Why is he saying that? Was that a joke on another channel or another show?
No, Cameron Stewart was canceled for just.
Oh, the cat. Is he the cat? He was the Catwoman guy. He did Catwoman or something.
Yes, horrendous reasons. He's not a good dude.
What? So what? I don't know. I must have heard about it.
I don't own a Cameron Stewart, but Marcus is now listing all the other.
I see. That's why we
horrendous artists that do Ethan. Okay. I do not have an EVS.
Okay, I do. I've got a couple, and I still like. I'm willing to buy his earlier art that I like. Whatever. Show off his Joe Bennett. Joe Bennett, right? He's the next guy, right?
We're about to go off on a huge tangent.
Oh, it's funny. And okay, but real quick, what was the if anybody wants to mention it, what was the Cameron Stewart thing?
Without the sexual predator.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, but
yeah.
Just in general, or like with kids, or
no. I don't even know. It was mostly like
a lot of people, like one of those where a lot of people had complained that he assaulted me, sexually assaulted me. Okay.
Yep. Stalked, sexual assault, that kind of thing.
Because I remember that a few years ago by that guy Scott Alley from Dark Horse, big editor at Dark Horse. His name was Scott Alley. There's
a lot of that, man. It's a pretty predatory industry.
Grooming a 17-year-old. Okay.
Yeah. So when not everyone's like that, obviously, but it's an environment that fosters that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's always been an old boys club after all, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, everyone. Let us get back on track here with the next piece. And for this, I bought it for everything but the main character. I didn't buy it. Sorry. I'm showing it for everything but the main character. You'll know what I mean by this. Check this out, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I bought it for the roller coaster, period. I showed it for the roller coaster. Yeah.
Dude.
If I had bought it myself, that's why I would have bought it.
Right. And it's definitely a huge bonus, right? But for me, loved Christopher Priest's Black Panther.
Oh, really? Okay. I heard a lot of good stuff, but I never read it.
Loved it. And, Mark Texeira was doing the art on it when they relaunched it under Marvel Knights. Sal came on afterwards, kind of following the storylines. This was before they at some point they had to reboot and it went into nonsense. But this was still Everett K. Ross is still there. It encompasses, and Sal eventually became the artist that drawn the most number of issues of Black Panther like ever.
Right.
So the ability to get this, it was a nice opportunity. Love the background. You're dead on, man. Why he chose that angle to make life like awful on himself, but it's fantastic. It's so well executed. He's saving Everett before, it's the classic Western trope of being tied to a railway track, but it's actually a roller coaster because KB is goofy as hell. But
it's a little bit fun. This is the type of stuff, but like when artists take the time to do all that work, and it's not, you can't freehand that shit. That's the problem, right?
Right.
You can't, if you want it to look proper, you cannot freehand.
You cannot. Nope. No.
And it's like just the amount of work and time, why? Yeah, mind you, it's not like it's not like the artists have a choice, right? Because if the writer is specifically saying, so look, on this, this page, it's a splash page, and of course they're at the amusement park and they're leaping over the roller coaster. You have no choice as an artist. You got to know you got to draw the roller coaster,
Yeah. The writer's just like, just make it a cool low angle view of him jumping, and like Sal was probably like, fuck you, man. Exactly. But like Chuck mentioned something like Bob Almond, the inker, was also probably like, God damn it.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
Yeah.
Off the rails splash, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's insane. But that's the thing. That's why it's so difficult to be a comic book artist. You have to be able to draw everything. And yes, everybody, for those who are more, as in the last 25 years, everybody's kind of a writer followers more than artist followers. But that just because you need to know how to draw everything, it doesn't mean the artist draws those things out of their head. Nobody can do that. Nobody. So yes, that is photo referenced. He had to go spend the time looking for a decent shot of a roller coaster, and it's of course it's but you still have to interpret the photo ref properly.
Right. Like the chances that you will find the exact photo reference in the exact angle that you need it at is small. So you find the photo reference, then you lay out your perspective lines, and now you have to reinterpret this drawing into. Yeah, it's a lot of work, man, for like 7 words on a page.
Yeah. Exactly. Something that every reader will like, okay, you flip the page and like, oh, cool. Wow, look at all that. Yeah, wow. And then they read the few words and okay, they'll flip right away. I mean, that's it. It's seconds, right? It's seconds. Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing. Let me see here. That's a sharp turn on a roller coaster. He used photo ref, so it's legit. Unless he interpreted it a little tighter, it's possible too. Yeah. Wooden frame coaster too. Yeah, we have one here. We still have a wooden coaster here in the city. Jimmy hates drawing dogs or horses or something like that. Yeah, a lot of artists hate drawing. Like, look, remember Buscema? He loved Conan because with Conan, he could draw mostly like scenery in the backgrounds, and the buildings he needed to draw kind of he drew out of his head, right? He invented them. They didn't need to look accurate because they didn't exist in real life, right? Yeah. And that was it. He hated drawing cars, buildings, everything but people. He loved figures. That was it,
Yeah. Why are these people in New York City like something that's, they're supposed to SketchUp helps these days. Chaplin.
SketchUp helps. What's SketchUp? I don't know what that is. Do you know what he's talking about, Eranga?
SketchUp is a 3D design program.
3D, okay, that's what I figured. Some kind of software. Yeah.
So I think it is definitely very handy for artists, especially when they're. So I know a lot of artists who work on monthly books. They'll build their environments in SketchUp, right?
Okay.
So and if they have to repeatedly draw characters in, let's say the Avengers meeting room. They have that meeting room 3D model, so they can kind of push it around to see what it would look like from different angles and stuff like that. Okay, definitely a bonus.
Right. Very cool. All right. Let us see. All right. So The next piece in tonight's show and tell, it is the 10th one. This is an artist we've seen already once before. And this one's really, really cool. I mean, they're all cool, but like, yeah, just check this out, everybody. This is a triptych.
Yeah. Yeah, this was Jeff's the second piece I went for with Jeff. Let me tell you something about this funny story, okay?
Yeah.
So I got that first Ghost Rider from Jeff, okay? And Jeff's been doing these montage pieces, kind of like this, where there's like a smaller figure and then different versions and different eras of that figure. So this is an example of a severe miscommunication that actually turned into a happy accident. I gave him the choice of doing one of these montage pieces for either Cable, Archangel, or Mystique.
Okay.
And he took it as, oh, you want that montage piece done with all three of those characters on it. So I did not. I gave him a choice of either, pick one of these three and then do the montage that way. So instead, he went with this. And when he showed it to me, I was like, ah. And then I was like, man, it's still fantastic. Like it's really great. I mean, there's no reason for these three characters to be on the same image.
Like, I mean, you can maybe make an argument for Cable and Mystique since it's the X universe or whatever, right?
Yes, not even Archangel in that way.
Even Archangel, but I know what you mean. Yeah,
right. But like, I love the way he put it together, like the that mechanism in the background, etc., etc. Marcus, that thought did cross my mind. He's like, I'm just gonna do all three for this asshole, and then that way he'll never bother me again. It was a happy accident. Let's put it that way. Yeah,
it's a good Bob Ross then. Okay, that's good. Happy accidents. All right.
Yeah. And again, man, he does really good work. He's very, very talented, man.
Yeah, for sure. It's beautiful. I love this piece. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's. I'm glad you put this one up there, just because.
Cool.
Just to mention how unintentionally this one came about.
Yeah, well, that's great also because I typically try to pick 20 pieces, right? And that one actually, I had already chosen the Ghost Rider by Spokes, and I skipped over that one. I got the 20, and then I took one last look, and I was like, I don't know though. I should still show that extra Spokes, because it's not Ghost Rider, it's a few extra characters, and it's nice looking. So I thought, okay, I'll make it 21, whatever. What's the difference,
and it represents like all the choices I was giving artists at that time. Because I thought Jeff was a guy that I thought could smoke. I've seen him do tech. I've seen him do horror. I've seen him he draws beautiful women. I think he could have, he would have smoked any one of them. And usually I don't give the trifecta of choices to a single artist.
Okay.
I pick and choose. And after this though, I would make sure, hey, one of these three is what if I was ever giving an artist a choice.
But just to clarify, does this mean that are you saying he charged for 3?
Nope. Okay. It was supposed to be what he was doing at that time was so he would do like that.
He was doing that kind of
and then the bust type of the other iterations of the characters, if you will.
Right.
And he gorgeous pieces, man. I mean, he was just pumping out amazing looking pieces. I missed out on a few of the pre-duns. He had done them as pre-duns, so I missed them. He done Scarlet Witch. I want to say Rogue at one point. Anyway, so that gave me the idea. Hey, can you do one of those types of pieces with one of these characters? So I was thinking, if he picked Cable, he would do the smaller central figure of Cable, and then maybe one with the techno-organic virus or something, that way. It turned into this. It's actually a good reminder when you put that up. Maybe I should reach out to him again and say like, hey, this time let's do one of your montage pieces that way.
Mark, you're saying Mystique doesn't work as well in black and white. I don't know. I think that was pretty sweet.
Depends on the artist, I think.
I think it's because Mark, you just happen to love her color scheme because it's cool. I mean, I like to see her in the comics, because I do love her color scheme, right? But here, did you? I know you just came in late, so maybe you missed this one, perhaps. So there you go, Mystique in color. But yeah, I think she works either way. I mean, I always prefer black and white for everything.
Right.
That's why I'm an original art guy and don't really care to, read many comics anymore. But whatever. I mean, to each their own, right? Okay, so before we go to the next piece, I just wanted to remind everybody that there is no EXP, but I'm going to show this here anyways for Nicky B. So he's not doing a show. He will be at the convention next weekend. So for those of you who do typically attend, just keep in mind that he will not be doing a show until another, I guess that works out to 12 days from now. So 2 Fridays from now. So yeah, just check back in a couple of weeks. All right. And here we go.
George mentioned Psylocke, what he's talking about.
Yeah,
that's one of the pieces that Jeff had done in montage, and George has some really nice pieces from Jeff too.
Okay, but he loves the pieces you got.
He's just being nice. He likes.
I know he is. And Mark's like all getting defensive now. Oh, don't get me wrong. It's still beautiful and high contrast.
We get it, Mark. You hate that. Like, you hated my piece.
Hate it. Yeah, we already hate it. We called you out already. That's it. Come on, Mark. You know by now on this channel, whatever. We speak the truth. You can speak the truth, and nobody has to take offense about it. Whatever. Like, it's good, If you don't think it works good, it doesn't work good, that's fine. You're allowed to say that. That's cool, Okay, so somebody in the football game kicked a crazy kick.
Looks like a missed kick.
First Green Bay, now Buffalo. Oh, shanked kicks all over the place. Bills just missed a field goal to tie the game. Wow, okay. Ooh. Thanks for the updates. Appreciate it. Mark says, thanks, Eranga. Now he's really sucking up. Thanks, Eranga, for sharing your fantastic collection.
Hey, thanks, Mark. I appreciate that.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm just yanking your chain, Mark. You know that. Okay, everybody, let us continue with the show. And the next piece in tonight's show and tell is a very rare type of piece you don't typically find Eranga collecting.
Oh.
And no, I didn't pick this for what you will think is the obvious reasons. I picked it because when I stopped in his gallery on it, it caught my eye and I was like, oh, that's nice. I'm like, oh, yeah, I sold it to him. Oops.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like, oh, my God. Okay. I was like, oh, man. But I genuinely love it. Like, I was just, oh my God, it's so beautiful. I'm like, okay. At first, I'm like, I typically try to avoid showing Mike's pieces in other people's collections because I don't want to be, accused of like, oh, of course, that's why you're showing it, right? Yeah. For obvious reasons. But every now and then I do it. If I really, really love it, I'm like, okay, let me just show it. Plus, you're not a big DC guy, so I was like, okay, I'll show it for sure. But
yeah. I mean, I remember exactly where I was when I bought it because I was watching the show. Snorri was on there, and you guys were discussing. And was Jason on the show too? Was it Snorri? Anyway, yeah, man. Looking at the art in this thing, I never read the book. Looking at the art, I was like, man, I gotta. Like, Mike was just freaking firing on all cylinders in this book, right? I mean, I've noticed Mike's art before. I've always liked Mike's art, but like seeing the work he put in on this book, this was the final thing. So when I bought this from you, like before you, and Ram V was also firing on all cylinders on this book. So in between you shipping it to me, I went and bought the run so I could read it.
Right.
So by the time the art arrived, I was already well into the run, felt like less of a poser, and that was it. Yeah, but again, it's beautiful, man. I mean, I think as amazing as the spread is, the background image of the foliage and things like that close up, the bottom right panel is freaking fantastic.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And look at Jason. He's fucking lying now. Through his teeth. Look at him. Swamp Thing stuff was beautiful. To save myself money, I made sure not to read the series. Nice.
And not to mention, again, the other thing was like these were all very reasonably priced as well. That's not to
Yeah.
not. I'm not just saying that because you're here. They were
I appreciate it.
I felt like they were worth it. It's not like they were underpriced, but they weren't ridiculously priced, which I think because of the acclaim that this run got, no one would have blamed you or Mike for going in that direction, but you kept it pretty reasonable. And it helped a casual collector like me be like, hey, you know what? Let's get it. And that casual collector also became a reader. So
yeah, I mean, and I never actually got to ask you, ultimately, when you did read it after you bought the page. So what was your final assessment of that run? And by the way, actually, before you actually even answer that, I need to know, had you been a reader? Had you read the Alan Moore run?
Nope. I know nothing. The only thing I know about Swamp Thing is that Alec Holland TV show that was on TV in the 90s or whatever that ran for a couple of episodes. So this was like super different. It was like getting in on the ground floor. I will tell you.
I ask you only because this 16-issue run was like a love letter to that Alan Moore run. That's why you really appreciate it if you had already read that. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So that's why I wonder.
Even as a guy without that background, I was still able to appreciate like the horror elements. I maybe didn't get the inside stuff, like maybe that was a genius of the piece, right? There was enough in it for like someone brand new like me who has no connection to the character, never read a Swamp Thing book, but I could pick it up. But I could pick it up and just it was a self-contained run for the most part that I could get into. This might be heresy, but like towards the end, I felt like there was a lot of there was some stuff where I couldn't necessarily, that lost me to a certain degree.
Right.
Okay. But it didn't dim my enjoyment of the overall run. Right. If I can put it that way.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Again, I read it already having had all that previous classic series, and one of my favorites. And like I said, it's a love letter to that series. So it's so much more enjoyable when you already are familiar with that original, Alan Moore run. Because there's so many sort of throwbacks to it and calls back to it. And so it's like, oh my God, it's like, wow,
I do. And hey, here's the other thing, right? I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. Listening to you and Snorek and Jason talk about the art and kind of mentioning little inside tidbits, like, I noticed the it's impossible. Like, of course, I've seen Bernie Swamp Thing and like Bissett Swamp Thing and stuff like that. So when there were purposeful homages done to that run artistically, yes, I 100% noticed that stuff. Right. And so listening to the three of you kind of talk about it also helped, kind of get me off my ass and be like, all right, I want it. I want to buy something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. All right. So, interestingly enough, from there, that double page splash with 3 or 4 inset panels, we're going to go to another, well, I guess it's not really double page splash because it's not really part of a story, but some of you probably still call it that. Let's just check it out. It's really cool.
Woo!
This is what it is, everybody. It's a promotional house ad for a comic that was about to come out at the time.
Yeah. It was kind of advertising the second era after the initial House of X titles. Dude, Mahmud Asrar, I really enjoy his work. But like he started growing in like leaps and bounds, man. If you compare this to like his Supergirl run, which I've only seen examples of, and some of his early Wolverine and the X-Men stuff. He did take, it's obvious he took some stuff from Pepe. There's a little bit of osmosis going on there, but this was, as soon as I saw this as a promotional item, I knew that Mahmud doesn't work digitally; he works traditionally.
Right.
It had, and finally, when it did go up for sale, I don't mean to like tell tales outside of school here, but it was at an eye-opening kind of price, right?
Okay.
But
you mean in a negative way to your wallet?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. But I was able to. But it also looked like a lot of other people weren't either. So down the line, I'll keep it short. I was able to kind of make a deal for it and buy it. And bye, Vivian.
Bye, honey. Have a good night.
Yeah, and I'm super happy to have this, man. Just super happy to have this example.
Yeah.
I know you're not a modern comic reader, but there's a storyline within this that was called The Children of the Vault.
Okay.
And down there in the bottom right, you see X-23 and Wolverine, as she was called at the time, and Sync. Loved that storyline. And so the fact that little vignette is also in there was awesome. And you got, Patch and Maverick and, Legion, Mastermind. You got both halves of, you got Angel and Archangel there, Monet and Penance, Arcade, Nimrod, Psyche and Jean, Nightcrawler. Love this thing, man.
Yeah. Can you tell everybody who is the seller of this? Like who is the rep?
Cadence.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And they were very easy. They've always been easy to work with.
Okay. It was them you got it from, right? Though not on the
correct. I got it direct from the rep. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's excellent. I did want to mention because
was that in 2020?
What's that?
Was this? No, I think you might have the year wrong on that.
I may, because again, this is one of those pieces that had really very either no information or very little information. And so all I had to go on was that you posted it in 2020. So I just used that as the date, thinking maybe it was brand new that year,
Man, did I post it in? Anyway, no, it doesn't really matter. But I think it was more recent than that.
Okay.
But I think it was like 22, maybe.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I could have also copied and pasted from another slide. And
dude, no sweat. It's just more like I saw the year and I was like, man, have I had it for that long? And I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. No, I haven't. No worries, man. I mean, that's not as important. But I like that you picked this one. It is. Yeah. It still is one of my favorites.
Oh, that's cool, man. And I love Arcade's evil looking grinnish face. I know it's a small part of the piece, but I really, really love that. I'm just like, wow, that's really cool.
You got a little Shadow King action right there too.
Yeah, Shadow King right there in the corner. Yeah. That's really cool. And of course, I've always been in love with that costume for Jean Grey as well. I don't know, something about it. It's just cute. It's really, really cute.
Oh, yeah. I'm really glad. I mean, they went retro, right? Even though it's the modern iteration, they went retro for a costume. I really like that costume too. Yeah.
Really, really cool piece. Wow. And so that means you're saying you feel you've only owned this for less than 2 years, then, I guess.
Yeah. I want to say that's true.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Rick said. Oh shit! It was in March 23, so it was last year.
What?
Dang!
Wow. Okay, so that was my mistake on the date. Sorry, everybody. I occasionally make mistakes, and I usually am making these slides at like 4:30 in the morning. So I am kind of half asleep when I do it. So it's that kind of explains why I do make mistakes sometimes. But whatever. It's not as important, but
no, it's not.
I still hate making the mistakes though, because I'm a perfectionist. But whatever. Yeah. That's that's it. So it wasn't 2020. Okay, all right, mistake, little honest mistake. Colors look good. Okay, sometimes we can admit when we like the colors as well, since we usually shit on the colors on this channel. So
yeah, the colors were nice actually.
Okay, thanks, Rick, for rubbing it in on the exact day that it was added. Oh, thank you for pointing out that it was definitely my fuck up. Thank you. I appreciate it.
She was wearing that in X-Force, but she debuted the costume in the first issue of House of X.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
X-Force was a byproduct of her wearing it in House of X.
So we're getting a question here. Serious question, apparently. Is doing the vape dangerous around the art? LOL, just curious.
Yes. No. I don't know. There. Yeah, no. This is
Jason, have a good night, my friend. Thank you. Have
Hey
fun.
Jason.
Yeah.
See you later, man. Most of my art is
Say hi to everybody, Jason. Don't be such an extrovert.
Yeah. It's less dangerous than humidity to art. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. There you go, number one Marvel fan. Hey, Mickey. Had to watch the game.
Mickey.
Does that mean it ended? Is it over?
Yeah, I think they were mentioning it in the chat. I think Kansas City won.
Oh, so KC won. Oh, by how much? Anybody?
By 3, I want to say, because they missed that field goal to tie, right?
Oh, so by 3?
I'm just drawing the straight line.
Okay. Right. Oh, look at that, Marcus. It wants to tell you. Vape leaves oil in the air.
Oh shit! Game over. No one's ever gonna want to buy my art again.
Thanks, Jason. Wow, I felt it was going to be a 3-point game, or within 3 points. I felt it was going to be a close, coming down to a kick type thing situation. That's what happens. Wow, amazing. Good night, good night. Carol, thanks, Karen. 27-24. Okay, wow. Yeah, 27. Thanks, guys. Thank you, everybody. The storing the art in a room where you vape qualify as stored in a smoke-free home. Oh, people are coming at you now.
This is me not giving a fuck. Just in case anyone was curious.
You heard it here first.
Not questions I think about on a daily basis.
All right, excellent. Okay, everybody, let us move on now. Hey, and you can never accuse me of avoiding those types of questions. I always want to get those out there. So
dude, bring it on. Bring it on.
That's it. And also because I know that people specifically like Eranga won't give a shit about what you guys have to say. And he just do what he wants anyway. So that's cool, right? Like I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, you'll handle it. That's cool. Oh, so funny. And I see now they're laughing. See the LOLs and the laughing my asses off come out. Eranga art has strawberry smell, he says.
Dude, you know what's funny is like you can't smell this at all. It's not one of those like dragon vapes where it's like all that smoke or whatever. You can't smell this, which helps me a ton because I generally am not allowed to vape in the house.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I can't take a break, so I'm gonna do it here.
Got you, man. Okay, let us move on with the show, everybody. For this next piece is a killer piece. I really, really love this. It's one of the unpublished pieces from Eranga's collection, but I love it. I remember when it was, I believe when it was first. But anyways, it's awesome. Don't give a really shit about the character, but it's one of those characters that with cool art, cool artistic styles, you can do really cool stuff. So check this out, everybody.
Ah, yeah, man. It's really funny. It's really funny that you put this up because I was just talking to Leo's rep about buying some, like literally within the last two days.
Oh, wow.
Potentially buying some pages from his Deathlock run.
Okay.
Yeah, man. The Helstrom run was where I first kind of discovered Leo Manco.
Okay.
And this was, I want to say, it was a comic link. It was a comic link.
Yes. That's okay. That's where I saw it because I remember thinking, hey, this thing is cool. I typically don't buy, just sort of unpublished work, pinup.
Right.
And I remember watching it and thinking, "Oh shit, I think I might get this." And I may even have put in a bid and didn't win, or I may have just held back. But I contemplated it, which is it tells you kind of speaks to how good it was. Because like I said, they don't typically buy this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's really strong, man. Really, really beautiful stuff.
Yeah, man. He's when he was working on that book, man, I'd never heard of him before, right? Like, and then I saw his work on that book, and it really, really stuck. And then so when this came up, I was like, man, this is the exact example I'd want from Leo's work. And so that's kind of what I went with. And the guy that did the colors, right? Digital colors.
Who I credited.
Yeah, well done. Well done to you, by the way. Because it's a non-published piece, and it's just a guy on the internet. Like he's a colorist, he's an artist, and he had taken this image. This was well before I actually won it, by the way. So I saw it when I was kind of looking for this image. But I saw he did it, so I added it to my gallery, made sure I credited him because he did a really good job with the colors. But Leo, man, I mean, you put him on a horror character because he also did Werewolf by Night like recently, and then his Deathlock one was also really, really cool. But it was Helstrom, and it's definitely not a character I collect. I will probably never own another Daimon Helstrom piece, but it's right there. And I think Marcus was the one he was when I put this up. I think he was one of the first ones to mention the undone fly. And he's just sexy, man. You can't hold it back. Yeah.
Rick points out even the colorist is also a Leo, and with an Italian name like Colapietro, I bet you anything, it's also Leonardo, same as the artist. So
I bet it is.
That's pretty cool. But it's an amazing piece, and like you said, same thing with me. I think like it's not like he's some important character or he's so cool. Like reading his stories is so awesome, whatever. Visually, it's just a gorgeous piece. It's just the art grabs you so much that you just kind of you're compelled to own it, despite the fact that it's just not a character that you may give a shit about or not. And so, of course, I wouldn't expect you to ever get another Daimon Helstrom piece ever again.
Yeah.
This is all about art for the art's sake, just because it's so gorgeous, right? Like it's regardless of who the character is, right? So,
and I think I do that, and with the Doctor Strange example as well. There's no need. Like I have a miscellaneous gallery as well on my calf, and that is for stuff where, maybe I got it at a time when I didn't really have a focus on on just keeping it to 3 characters, or it was a beautiful illustration that I saw that doesn't really fit a theme, but I'm not gonna let it go because it's not. It doesn't even have to be a character I had any kind of affinity for. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
It reminds Jason of the Michael Bear series.
That's exactly it. So Michael Bear, I think that series, Bear did the covers and I think the interiors maybe on the first couple of issues, but Leo took over after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was always a big Mike Bear fan myself, so.
Yeah, and Mike's covers were amazing on that series too, man. Like another guy that you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Him drawing some badass horror stuff.
Yeah. Number one Marvel fan. I'm not sure. What do you mean by, are you talking about Jesus Velasco, the Spanish artist? What is that?
Oh, he's talking about the demon Belasco, B-E-L.
Oh, Velasco. Velasco is less great than Helstrom. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
So you should, okay. Okay. We know what you're a fan of then, number one Marvel fan. Okay, so let us take a look at the next piece, everybody. And for that one, it's another double slide piece because it is a wide angle shot. Check this out. Really awesome. I like this.
Yeah.
Olivier,
and it's funny we were talking. Say that again?
I said Olivier Coipel and Mark Morales.
Olivier Coipel, yes. What's funny is we almost organically we were talking about the Sentry earlier on because Mikhail brought it up, but the Void is featured here, and the effect gets lost with the colors. Like just look at the blur that those lines cause, right? Like so Morales did like such a great job interpreting that blur. but it's almost like your eyes are. You have to refocus your eyes when you look at the black and white, and it really does look like that when you're looking at the actual piece itself. So I love Olivier's work. This the crossover itself, I could take it or leave it. I definitely read it when it was coming out. It was exciting, but it kind of petered out. But nice selection of characters. You got the Vision, Thor. This will tell you what. I can't tell you who that guy in the top left is. I don't even remember. But Spider-Woman, Cap, and the Void, man. The art itself is fantastic as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I hear tell that Olivier's art is super expensive, more than ever these days. Is it?
Yeah. That's. I would buy a lot more of it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't kissing five figures. Yeah.
Wow.
Covers.
Yeah, obviously. I get it. But pretty insane.
Yeah. He's another guy that's just supremely talented. And he's one of those guys that has really influenced not just a new generation of artists, but there's a lot of like established artists that cop from him that you don't necessarily like. The way he does his cross hatching, weaving in and out of it, he's taken a little bit of that European flair. Some of it is, of course, influenced by Travis, but there's a lot of younger artists that are coming out now that are essentially doing Coipel, the way they do the cross hatching and stuff like that. So when he went away from like the way he was cross hatching, and then he just started using lines to show form in cross hatching, suddenly everyone was doing that. Pepe is a little bit of an offshoot of that as well.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of par for the course. Typically, when an artist who's really good at something becomes really popular, all the other kind of artists are like, oh, how does he do that? Oh, how does he get that effect? Oh, it's so cool, right? And they want to study it, and then they try it out on their own, right? And then they if they do it pretty well, they adopt it to their own work, so.
Yep. And it's nice, man, because Jim Lee begat like an entire generation. Matt Herrera begat a different generation, and Olivier is like a little, there's a you can plant a flag there and say, hey, this guy kind of moved the needle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Excellent. All right, so everybody, let us go to the next piece in tonight's show and tell, and for that we go back to
the future.
No, but it is a character we have seen before. But I love this guy. Okay, let me just tell you a quick anecdote. I used to hate this guy's work. He started off as an inker in the 90s, just before I quit collecting.
Whilce Portacio.
No. Hated. I just hated a lot of the, he would look, and in fairness, I was judging a guy who was new to the business. You're not doing your best work when you're first starting out. So it wasn't exactly fair of me to judge so harshly.
I know who it is.
But over the last 10, 15 years, whatever it's been, he just became this amazing illustrator, a complete artist. Although I don't think he does like interiors or whatever. I don't know what he says. He does this stuff on YouTube, whatever. Anyways, but let's
before we pop it up on screen. Can I take my guess?
Yeah,
Dan Panosian.
Yeah, baby.
Because I feel the same way, dude. Like I felt like when he was just an inker, he ruined some of my favorite artists.
Yeah,
like, it used to irritate the shit out of me. But
dude, and you know what?
Yeah,
you know what I did once when I was seeing like I hadn't seen his work in years. All right, like years, and all of a sudden, I started seeing pieces that he was doing in this style, right? That he adopted, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's gorgeous? Who's that?" I'm like, "That Panosian? What? Is that the same guy who used to be the inker back in the early to mid 90s?" I was so blown away. I kept seeing more and more and more. I was like, "What? Wow! Did he like credit where it's due? This guy he became a great artist." And I sought him out on Facebook, and I reached out to him with a private message to tell him what I used to think of him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. just to let him know, like in the nicest way possible, just to let him know, like, I credit where it's due. Like, wow, you really became, like, you really did your thing and just totally became an unbelievable artist. I mean, and he was nice enough. He appreciated it and said, "Oh,
He's a super nice guy. He's a super nice guy.
Super amazing guy." So
I've had the chance to meet him and kind of sort of hang out with him once.
Oh, cool.
With him and Ron Garney at a con.
Oh, cool.
Not like we were going out drinking.
Yeah.
Those guys are maniacs.
Garney, another cool dude. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
I met Garney, so yeah. But okay, let's take a look at this and talk while we look.
Yeah, man. He did this on the show you mentioned, the YouTube show, the Drink and Draw, with Quesada and
that's what I thought. And I originally wrote illustration, and for some reason I doubted myself and I changed it to commission. So stupid.
Yeah. He did it, and it's so different. Like it grabbed me immediately, right? So I reached out to him on Twitter, and I sent him a private message, and said, "Hey, is this?" I wasn't sure if the pieces that they did on that show were for sale or not, and so I asked him if they were. He said yes. We sorted out the price. It's just insane, right? I mean, to think about making the length of the bike like that, and it's an old school chopper. He's got the bell bottoms on. Fantastic. It's got the type on there. But what's really funny, I'll tell you a funny story behind this, which kind of makes it even cooler. Sure. Is he shipped this, and he was like, "All right, buddy, it's shipped. It should be on its way." And what happened was he shipped it to somebody else.
What? Oh, like, my God.
He fucked up the address.
Oh.
It was actually shipped to my buddy Chris Bacon.
Oh, that's funny.
Who, like, he's one of my friends now, but like that was one of the first times I'd ever talked to Chris. Chris reached out to me and said, "Hey, man, this came to me. It's got your name on it, but my address." And like he kind of knew me from that Sketch Prices group.
Oh,
so what happened was he reached out to Dan. Dan made it all right. He had Chris ship it back out to me and whatnot, and so it all turned out okay in the end. But it's funny, like the little connections, because I've known Chris now for years and we're friends, but that's one of the first times we ever like kind of chatted and caught up and talked. But so yeah, I was just very happy with this, man. I love the vibe. It's just a fun vibe. It looks like it's from another era, right? It's from it's Easy Rider, Ghost Rider.
Yeah. And that's like a really, just for anybody not aware. I mean, I was a kid in the 70s. I loved motorcycles, since I saw my first one. And back then I used to see a lot of choppers riding by in my neighborhood. But this is way longer than even your typical chopper. This thing would have some level of trouble getting around corners, certain corners. Turning this baby would not be easy. Let's just say that.
And it's a super odd size. It's like 12 by 20.
Oh, but I love that. See, because I'm a big strip art fan, and I like dailies a lot more than I like Sundays, because I love that orientation of the long horizontal width with not very tall, Right. So I love that for this. Wow.
It's roughly 12 by 20 if memory serves right. Yeah. Wow. So difficult to store, difficult to frame, kind of. But for sure. I love it. I still love it to this day. I'll tell you another bit of history stuck with that is Sean Gordon Murphy had actually reached out to Dan Panosian to buy this.
Oh yeah.
Right after my message.
Oh,
and Dan is such a stand-up dude, and he's friends with Sean, and he said this dude reached out to me first. Like while I was chatting with him, Sean had reached out.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, and so he's a stand-up guy, and he upheld the deal with me.
Is that what Dan told you after, or did you hear that from Sean? Oh,
he told me after the deal had already gone down. We paid, so he wasn't using it to leverage.
No. But She's like, just so you know, one of my friends, Sean Gordon Murphy, got in right up behind you, but I wasn't gonna outsell it from out from under you or whatever.
Right. We were chatting after like I'd already bought it and paid for it, and he'd already shipped it, and he just gave me the backstory.
Okay.
So yeah.
Very cool. All right. So from there, everybody, we're gonna go to another illustrator who didn't really do that much in comic books, not in America at least. But I love this guy's work on this project in particular because he had enough time to really go balls to the wall with this style that he used. Photorealistic, very heavy. He had, it takes place in a certain time, so very heavy on the photo ref. But the technique that he uses to do shading, which is by drawing a series of horizontal parallel lines, but then thickening certain parts of each line. Anyways, you'll see what I mean. But I love this. This brought me back into comics after being away for 7 or 8 years. And I just love it. So here, let's take a look at this.
Travis Charest. Nope. Shit.
Nah. Not a bad guess, I guess.
Yeah. Richard Pierce Rayner, man. Yeah. It's funny. It's not something that I guess it's another one that's a little bit outside the box for my collection. But I really love this graphic novel. And a large portion. It's a super emotional one. It's a great story. Really well written. And then, the movie came out and you can enjoy the movie on its own merits because the movie was fantastic as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know why Rayner hasn't done like of course he's a working artist, but why he's never caught on, because you look at the work he put into Road to Perdition and it's absolutely amazing, man.
Yeah.
Like for the reasons that you mentioned, his line work, the way he can get depth and shadow and form just by using different orientations of single lines for the most part. So when the opportunity came to pick up a page from this, I picked this up directly from Richard. And for a while there, earlier last year or mid last year, he was in the process of selling a bunch of the pages from this because it's like he had like 300 pages because that was the size of the book.
Yeah, he had most.
Yeah. And so this is the page. Like I think I went through like 20 pages. And I was trying to like at one point I was going to buy multiple pages, etc. They were reasonably priced, and then I was just like, look, I just want one good example, and this is the one, man. Because you got Michael and his kid, and the priest coming in, and the language and the message of the story about seeing Irishmen and stuff like that. I really loved it. I'm glad this is in the collection.
Yeah, I was happy to see it. And I every time I see pages from this, I love it. And I was like, oh wow! And I've shown I've probably done show and tells with at least 2 or 3 people who had one in their collection. I was like, oh, I got to show this. I love
wow! It. Okay, yeah.
So it's really cool. Little anecdote. Many years ago, before I had ever seen a single original page from this ever anywhere, I was like, oh man, what should I look for to try to collect something? It must have been around 2015. I remember I had not started my focus on Tom Grummett's work yet, so I was looking for something that I could go for, and I was like, what did I love, man? I gotta find something that I love that isn't expensive. I was even back then I was already sick and tired of paying too much for art, I wanted to collect cheap pages that I still love, right? So it's got to be something that's good and still not popular. And I thought of this. I was like, oh my God, bro, I was looking for stuff by looking at my bookshelf of my trade paperbacks and stuff, And I see, Road to Perdition, oh my God, the Rayner stuff, oh my gosh. I've never seen a single page. So I'm like, holy shit, that usually means when it's been this long, that usually means the artist still has it all, So I tracked them down. Send them a message. And in my head, before I emailed them, in my head, I was already working out, formulating a plan. I'm like, okay, if he has it all, I'm going to see if I can work out a deal to buy the entire thing. It was one of those things where I could never pick just one page.
Right.
It's so beautiful, right?
It's hard.
I can't pick just one. So I'm like, it's either all or nothing. So I said, okay, I can't go crazy in terms of like the money. It's like, if like in my head, I just thought, okay, I don't know what the hell he would charge for all this shit. But in my head, I'm like, okay, if I could get it all, and let's say $100 a page average times X amount of pages, that's what I'll do. I'll do that, you know?
Right.
And so I reached out to him. I had the plan already all set. Said, yeah, you know, hey, Richard, I'm just curious, you know, whatever happened to the artwork to that, you know? And he's like, oh, I have it all here, whatever. I was like, oh, really? Oh, that's fantastic. And he's like, well, most of it is here. He goes, I have a few pages I think that I must have either given away or sold throughout the years. And I never got the cover back from the publisher or
wow, bummer.
Right. And I was like, oh God. I am not into completing books. I've tried it. It's just an exercise in years worth of frustration
and futility.
So never do that again. And so I was like, yeah, that's it. My dream died right there. I'm like, no, I'm not buying an almost complete book and hope that those missing pages one day turn up, kind of thing. You know?
Right.
So that's kind of a funny thing that it would have been cool if it.
That's crazy. Yeah, like it would have been a cool thing to have, like that entire story together. Yeah. I'm also assuming, had the movie come out at that time when you were reaching out to him?
Oh yeah. I mean, the movie was, I think, 2002, and I'm talking. This happened 2015, probably. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, because that's a 1998 book, which he drew roughly throughout 1996 and 97.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Because I'm assuming there may have been like a spike when the movie came out, and then just all that interest probably just waned after the movie had run its course.
Yeah, I mean, but Spike. But the thing is that the guy was not really like out there, really on social media promoting himself or anything, you know,
Nope.
like it. So that's the thing. So even after the movie, I don't know, what was that really when he sold the few that he had sold at that point, or could it just be that it was right after, in those first couple of years, maybe he did a show or two locally where he lives in the UK, or who knows, right?
And the fact that he never even bothered trying to get the cover back from the publisher, because Paradox Press was an offshoot of DC, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah, but you know what?
There's some editor at DC with the Road to Perdition cover, just like, that sucker never asked for this back.
Exactly. That's how it is. Mike, NSN Art, what's up? Complete Story Collector. I like it. Well, I'm really not, but this was a special book to me. Like I said, I love the art, love the story. It was the first thing I read after 7 or 8 years out of comics completely. So it brought me back into comics, and so that's why it meant a lot to me as well. So I guess it's nothing for Rubén. You guess what? What is that? What's he talking about?
He's talking about $100 a page for 300 pages.
Well, I don't think it's 300 though, is it? Isn't it more?
No,
like
it's probably like 200 pages.
200?
The page that you just showed was 150 something, and that's the middle of the story.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's it, you know. I mean, it would have. I knew it would have been something like 20K or whatever. Trust me, that would have been something for me. I don't typically have that just to shoot on a whim, you know. But I would have sold stuff if I had to make it work, you know. So let's see that piece you did, E. Which one is he talking about? James is talking about
the one I was gonna show tonight. The one I said I'd been doing over the last 2 to 3 days.
Oh,
you want to see it? You want to just pull it out of here? Yeah. All right.
And it was nothing, Marcus. All or nothing, but nothing won.
So here's the deal with this thing, right? Like, I did this because I was really fried from working on commissions, like I said. So I needed something I could do just mindlessly, but it still involved work and it's an enjoyment, and it turned into a lot more than I bargained for. Let me put it this way. So it was a lot of work, So I don't know if you guys can
Oh
see
yeah,
it.
hold on a second. Let me make this. I'll give you the screen. Give me a second here.
All right,
There
here
we
we
go.
go. So it's that Jim Lee pullout poster from the
Oh,
first issue.
oh, that one. Holy smokes! How much longer
I
does it go?
I recreated it.
Oh my God! What a nut job! Holy shit! You did the whole thing? Oh, crazy! What a crazy mofo you are! Holy shit! Wow. So how
And
many
there
boards is that now?
It is 17 by 24. Oh, sorry, 17 by 44.
Like 44.
It's
Okay.
on, but instead of 11 by 17 boards, I used, there's 2 boards there. You can see the seam right here. So
Yeah.
it's, I took an 18 by 24. Canson makes a nice 300 series Bristol paper, oversized. So I bought 2 of those sheets, cut the width down to 17. And so, threw the ink washes on there, kind of,
Wow.
detailed it out, gave it some detail.
Yeah. Holy shit.
But it's a recreation of Lee and Williams. So it's,
Yeah.
there's nothing of me on here, but it's always like a fantastic exercise, man. Kind of looking at what other artists did and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, this was my weekend project.
Yeah. Like Carl says, though, just something mindless.
It really is. It really is, man. I mean, it's.
I know, because it doesn't require the creativity aspect of it. So
no brain power. You're just interpreting what their lines look like, and you're kind of recreating it.
Yeah, it's just it's the labor of it all, though. It's just
the labor. You learn how to ink like Scott does, and that's a nice. When you're drawing at that size, man, one of the things is you don't want to make every line a 1-to-1 thickness translation, right? Because from the page, if you try to make it like those lines look too thick and whatever, so I use a 0.05 micron and a brush pen for most of it. So yeah. Anyway, that's the one thing I was gonna show as we were talking. I wasn't intending to do it on the show, but I figured, hey, since you said you didn't, I will.
That's awesome. I'm glad you did that. Can you did you even bother to keep track of how many hours total it took to do all that?
I never can, man. Like even if I did start, I'll never remember because I start, stop. But I can tell you, my drawing table is still downstairs. My drawing table is usually up here where I draw it. I take it. I've been taking it upstairs and downstairs because I'll be working on it here, and then in the evenings when I'm sitting with my wife after dinner watching TV, I would draw it on there. So I know I was up till 2 a.m. this morning. I was up till 2 a.m. the night before or whatever. It was a significant amount of work, but I enjoyed how it came out. And so next week at some point, I think I'll be throwing it up.
Oh, you mean like for sale?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to keep it, man. I don't keep any of my.
No, I get that. I get that. Yeah. Do you want to share the price, or you don't even know what it is?
I don't. I'm trying to like just come up with a price that's like fair and whatever. But I think it might even be Monday. Depends if I can get my stuff together and I'll. Which is what, tomorrow? Holy shit!
That's tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow, 11:15 a.m. Central Time is when I'll put it up for sale.
Oh, okay.
I don't take it anywhere. I was actually, it's hard. I was thinking about how to pack it, but at that size, it's, even though it has the fold, at minimum, the envelope is 17 by 24. So
right. Yeah, no, it's huge.
Yeah, I'll ship it.
No, but I appreciate you showing it and sharing it with everybody, man. That's awesome.
Thanks for indulging me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and by the way, where are you going to be doing the offer of selling it on Instagram, or is that how you? Okay.
Yes, it's usually that's usually the only place. Well, I have a Facebook account as well, but I usually share the same content. I usually share more on my Instagram than I do on my.
Okay. Well, everybody, for those of you interested in checking out what it's going to cost, in case you want to buy it, just go right down here in the description because Eranga's Instagram link is right there. So click it and then follow him and check it out tomorrow, which I think you said Central 11:15, right?
11:15 Central, so that's what 12:15 Eastern.
12:15, so right after lunch on the East Coast, and the morning time, breakfast time, or just starting at work on the West Coast. So
yeah, and I've already figured out how to ship it, so we'll be good to go.
Yeah, there you go, Marcus. You know it's Insta it is. And phenomenal, says David. There you go.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
All right, everybody. So Eranga needs to get out of here, so we're gonna kind of have to go a little bit quicker. We still have a handful of pieces left to go.
Sorry, Rubén, that's on me. I've done
cool.
as much to derail us.
It's cool. Don't ever apologize to me, because these guys know, these regulars know, I'll do it for 4 hours if I have to. I don't care. I just feel bad for you because you want to get back to your wife and stuff.
All good, brother.
Okay, so let us let's take a look at the next piece, everyone. I love this one, Eranga. Wow, one of your favorite characters for commissions, at least. So I had to show this one. Check it out.
Oh man, yeah. That's funny. That's another one that's framed and up on my wall.
Cool.
Ariel Cologne, when he was doing this, he was like criminally underpriced at the time that he was doing this. Since then, he's got up to the market. He's done DC covers. Blah,
cool.
Blah. Yeah. He's done quite a few DC covers. He's still continuing to do it. He at this point, I think he'd done some book illustrations. At the time, but he was criminally underpriced for what he was charging at that point. Let's just say that. I asked for Mystique. I tend to generally not give much art direction. And he came back with this, man. I mean, it's like the thought he's put into, the signage in the back, the lanterns, the single string of lightning in the sky, the rain. This is still to this day one of my favorite pieces, man.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Did part of the reason that his prices go up so much since you had this done, is it because he's also been picked up by one of these new hot shot art reps that we?
No, he has no rep.
Okay.
He's a New York guy.
Is he? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, super nice guy. He doesn't have an art rep. He's just kind of come to appreciate his own worth and what he puts into these things. And he slowly started trending in the upward direction before he started getting the published work. So it wasn't necessarily a function of him getting published work, but he was just like, man, I'm putting a lot into these things. My profile's kind of increasing even in the commission collecting world. That's one that's framed and on the wall. So
cool. A number one Marvel fan says, must say again, Eranga OAX piece is badass. We'll bid on that for sure.
Awesome. Awesome.
You do have a to talk about things from out of the blue, my friend.
I think it's related because it's it's also a little X-Men blue piece. So there it is.
Okay, so also on 2 boards?
2 boards, yes. 17 by 22.
Okay, nice. Very nice.
Bid often and bid high.
There you go, bid strong. All right, everybody, let's check out the next piece. And from there, we go to somebody that Eranga guessed I was talking about earlier, but it was not him, and now it is. Let's check this one.
Oh, yeah, I did. Because when you said you didn't like his inking because he started out as an inker.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit, is that where he's going?
No, because I can say that I was a fan of Portacio's early on. So yeah, I was a fan of his.
Yeah. So Whilce's work, man. I'll be honest with you. His Punisher stuff and stuff like that. It was not around the time that I was collecting. His Uncanny stuff and his X Factor stuff before that were really kind of where I started getting into Whilce. And I'll tell you, in this era on Uncanny, Eranga needs to be on the guest list. I actually, Marcus, I saw you say that earlier as well. I actually requested to not be on it. Not that I was invited, but I thought it made more sense for me to be there as a collector. Getting back to this, this image of Bishop, man, it to me, it's like one of the seminal like images, more so than his first appearance and his, that DPS that sold, etc., etc. This is it for me, because I remember as a kid that when I saw this, I actually copied and drew this image over and over as a kid when I saw this in the book. And I couldn't quite kind of put my finger on why this particular image like hit as hard, or this particular page hit as hard for me. And then when I had the opportunity to buy this page off a fellow collector, I started kind of digging a little bit more. There are 3 credited inkers on the book itself. There's Scott Williams, Arthie Bear, and Carl Alstatter.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Eric. And I believe, I knew I just kind of looking at it and looking at the inks, the way it was inked, it wasn't Scott. So I reached out to Carl and I asked him, if it was him that inked it, and he definitely said it wasn't him. But he said his memory, if memory served right, it was Whilce that inked himself on just this one page.
Right.
So I reached out to Joe and Whilce, and they confirmed it. And I guess Whilce really wanted this to be that signature image on that page. So he went and did it. So it's pencils and inks by Whilce, and I'm really, really freaking stoked to have this, man.
Yeah, I just want to say, again, because I was a big fan of Whilce's right from the beginning. When this issue came out, just like other issues where they have multiple artists, whether it's pencilers or multiple, inkers or whatever, I used to love, one of my favorite things to do was figure out who did what. Okay. And I know at the time, back in the 80s, a lot of the people who read comics, at least at the stores that I went to, they always were under the impression that when the credits had listed multiple, artists, they thought that meant that every page had all those artists working on it,
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, that can't. No, of course not. It's just they had to split the work. Whatever, you get a few pages, I get it. We're behind on a deadline, man. You take the script for these pages and whatever. That's how it's done. Yeah, so I thought that was funny, but I remember thinking, for whatever it's worth, which is basically nothing, but I do have the memory of thinking that page, because I'll never forget it, because that Bishop image is it's that typical regal, chest out, looking sort of up at him, right? It's a classic, what I call classic Superman pose, Right. And I remember thinking, like, yeah, it doesn't look like what Marcus said. It doesn't look to me like any of those inkers did this. To me, it looks like what I imagined Whilce's pure art would look like if he did all of it. So that was always my guess. And I think looking at it now, even as I was making the slide, I still kind of think that's probably what it, I mean, did you ever get a chance to ask him or no?
Ask Whilce?
Whilce, yeah.
Yeah. They're the ones that confirmed it.
Oh, so it's confirmed. It is confirmed.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. They confirmed it because Whilce wanted that page to be.
Oh, I see. Okay,
because he penciled that image and he wanted that because he loved Bishop. That was his creation. So it was I would have loved that image regardless of who inked it, but the fact that it's Whilce all the way is kind of awesome, because that era is so confusing, right, man? Like, forget the multiple inkers with Homage Studios. There were some issues that were had breakdowns by somebody else or layouts by somebody else, and then pencils by somebody else. So there was a real kind of incestuous thing going on there. But Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of my most recent pickups, I want to say, and
yeah,
it. I was on cloud nine. I probably still am. Yeah,
that's cool.
about it. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, and I love the fact that Karen mentions. I love the fact. I love it when there's always kind of a story behind it, right? It makes it adds to the interest and fun of having that page.
Right.
More to talk about, and yeah. So
And you picked some good ones that even on you had no idea that they would have some stories behind it, but like yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So it worked out beautifully. Excellent. Okay, so everybody, just so you know, there's I believe three pieces left. All right. So hang in for a few more minutes if you can. Would appreciate it. And this next one, yeah, nothing to say other than we'll let Eranga will talk about this one. But very cool. Let's check this one out. And I know he's super stoked about it too.
Ah, yeah, I was very, 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 very happy to get this one. Travis was another guy, man. I kind of worship his art, which is really weird because he had such a small body of work.
Yeah,
He was putting stuff out.
I barely but listen, that doesn't make it weird because don't forget, it's kind of like the what I call the Sterenko syndrome, right?
Right.
The guy drew like maybe a total of I think 29 stories plus cover, right? Like that's it. But he's revered ever since, right? So
and he was, when he was doing work in the beginning as a Jim Lee clone, I didn't notice his work at all. Even his first run on Wildcats, I didn't kind of pick up on it or notice it. Dark Stars, none of that stuff. But then when he started his run with Alan Moore on Wildcats, that's when I was like, holy shit, like what is going on here? And then, as the years went on and I started seeing his work like recently, he's obviously gone on to a different style. He's still incredibly talented as an illustrator, but it's not that Travis Charest, right?
Right.
So when I got an opportunity to get on his commission list, it took about a year for him to complete this, but he's pretty fair. Like he doesn't take any of your money up. He doesn't take any money up front.
Really?
You just sign up for a commission. And then as he gets to it, he'll let you know. He emails you and says, hey, I'm about a week away from starting on this. And you still don't pay him till he shows you the finished art, which is for a guy of his talent and his stature.
That's shocking, man.
Yeah, but also you would figure that he wouldn't have any trouble selling it if someone flaked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's Travis Charest. Yeah. So what I did like about this is for a half a second I thought of going with Ghost Rider or Mystique because he draws beautiful women, and if I was gonna get the Mystique, he was doing a color option as well. I would have gone with color, but with all the potential tech stuff you could do. For a guy as classically talented as he is as an illustrator, he draws amazing technology, right? That's kind of one of the things that was a standout with what he was doing. So I just gave him the cable option and hoped he would kind of lean into it. And really, you can still see some of old Travis in some of this, and that makes me super happy. So I'm very, 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 very happy to have this in the collection, man.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, I was shocked when I saw you post it because I didn't even know that he had even an interest in doing commissions, let alone that he was doing them. In fact, so
it's very strange. It just kind of happened. Okay, and I think he took the list and he immediately started falling behind.
Of course,
because he would start sharing on his social media. Okay, this is number 1. This is number 2. And the gaps between number 1 and number 2, number 3, number 4. Holy shit! Like those gaps started getting wider and wider. But dude, it's as long as the expectations are set up front. Like if you know Travis's work, he's a slow artist to begin with. 2, he never took the money up front. Right. He was like, hey, I'll get to it. I have X amount on the list. It'll happen when it happens. So I never bothered him. I just put my name down on the list. And then when my turn was coming up, he just let me know that I'm about a week away from starting your piece. And the only time the transactional aspect came in was after he sent me a scan of the completed piece, which, holy shit.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's like you said, it's shocking, whenever I hear any artist do that, but especially one who has like a high stature. And let's face it, and I don't have no idea what that costs, but given what his published stuff goes for, I assume he's a very higher.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, it's at the time it was $1,500. It's gone up now.
Oh, okay. That's actually a lot cheaper than I would have expected. Okay.
It is, right? It feels for a guy of his place in the industry, wherever you think that may be.
Yes. And for that level of super tight finish.
Yeah.
Right? Because he could have done sort of looser stuff, just to do it quicker and whatever. But that's super finished stuff. Oh,
and it's oversized. It's like
and that too,
13 by 18 or something along those lines. It's larger than 11 by 17.
Right. Yeah. Oh, awesome, man. Good for you. That's
Thanks,
congrats
man.
on that. That's an awesome piece. All right, everybody. Second to last piece to show you here. So hang in if you can. Only 2 more to go. And for this one, it's a double slide piece. One black and white, one in color. So let us get a look at this.
Tom Rainey. And I don't know what people's feelings are on Tom's art.
I really like it.
Yeah. So I'm glad because first time I ever saw Tom's art was when he did a 3-issue fill-in on Uncanny. Okay. And what I loved about it was he drew some ugly ass people.
Okay.
Right? Like he would draw especially angry, ugly people. He drew like one of my favorite versions of Archangel. He makes like the lips curl over the teeth when he draws it. And, he's since abandoned some of that stuff in the work. But like, I just remember when he started doing that fill-in, I was like, who is this guy? It's super interesting. I'm always drawn to people who take interesting approaches to art. And I always felt like Tom did. And so his X-Men stuff is obviously right now is just, I don't know what's going on, but like just the fact that X was attached to it gets things kind of insane.
Well, so, it's always going to have the premium, right? For sure.
Yeah. But when I got the chance to get this one, I kind of jumped at it because I it's Wolverine, claws out, there's a Mega Banshee, Forge, so kind of premium characters on it to that extent. At the time this pinup came out, I won't necessarily say I had a massive fondness for it. I saw it, I liked it, whatever, but it was just like shoveled off to the back of my head. I mean, it's not something I was after, but when it popped up, I was like, this is everything I like about Rainey's work. So yeah.
I mean, I would say that given it's 1991, first of all, it's shocking to me to think he was already around working in 91. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. That piece is really, really good because that's still really super early in his career. I thought that was really, really good. But although I don't really remember the art because I haven't looked at it in forever of these X-Men fill-ins that you were talking about, I can say that there is some art that he's done in his first, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, where I'd be like, oh, that's Rainey? Well, that's not that good as I remember some other stuff being or whatever, so I know what you're talking about. But again, every artist has their moments where as they're learning and, trying to get better.
Figuring shit out.
Right, exactly. So you look back.
They do some things better than other things. Yeah,
exactly. So it's normal, right?
Yeah, that Uncanny 3-part story was a Morlock storyline. It was so it had like Callisto and and all that stuff, Mikhail Rasputin. But that's still a really fun kind of storyline. Great art on it. Great art. I think you'd like it if you saw it. Okay.
Cool. In general, like you saw a few of the friends we got here, said, oh, like Ian, oh, I love Tom's art.
Awesome.
Number one Marvel fan, badass DPS, Mickey's big fan of Tom Rainey. Yeah. So overall, on the whole, I call myself a fan. I, for the most part, like his stuff a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. Glad to see it.
Yeah. So we've come up to the last piece, everybody. just before we show it, I just want you all to remind you or let you know that those of you not going to the con next weekend, I know there's a lot of you that are regulars here that will be going. So we're going to have a smaller than typical crowd, but I'm, as usual, I don't care. I'm still going to go on live. But because it's going to be a smaller crowd and because there's a game in the evening, I think at 6 or 6:30, I want to say, next week, I'm just going to go on at some hour where I think I'm going to try to figure out when the game should be finished by, and then that's when I'll start. So for the East Coasters, sorry for you East Coasters staying home next weekend, next Sunday. Yeah, you'll probably not want to tune in because you'll be going to bed at the time that I'm starting. But for you West Coasters who are not going to the show, hopefully you'll still tune in because, I'll still be doing a show. So just FYI, so you know. Championship Sunday. Exactly, Marcus. Exactly. But I'm pretty sure they said the second game, the one game, I believe it starts at 6 something Eastern. I don't know. I think I should be going on. I'm hoping by like 10 p.m. Eastern, something like that. Whatever. I'll do it. We'll see who shows up. If enough people show up, it'll just be like a hangout. We'll just shoot the shit about whatever, and that'll be it. Okay. And anybody else can have fun. And look at you, Karen. Look at you, Karen. That's because the Lions are the late game. Exactly. Thank you. You know that. You know me well. Thank you. I appreciate that. Eric, Mr. I don't like football. Yes, you are correct. Football nonsense. It will be next Sunday. So just keep that in mind, anybody. But anyways, for those of you who are already subscribed and have your notifications on, as soon as I schedule the show, that I guess you'll get notified and you'll see what time it's going to be on at. And by the way, Eric, this entire week, not only with you, but I had yours and 2 other friends with long-ass email conversations going at the same time. And that's why I haven't responded to your latest email for the last couple of days. It's coming. It's coming. Hopefully tonight or tomorrow, right? So I apologize. So let's go Purdy. Let's go Lions. We can have a watch party at the hotel, maybe. Hey, man, if you want to tune in from late night Sunday after the show's over, you're always welcome. You know that, Tommy. Looking forward to meeting some familiar names in Orlando. There you go.
Hey, Carl, I'll be there. Come give me a high five, man.
There you go. And by the way, Eranga, by the way, I was talking to my buddy Jeff, my good friend Jeff Singh. He told me that you got your booth next to his. Next week.
Yeah. Dude, Jeff is like such a sweetheart, man. Yeah. He and I, we were in Como this year, and he was my travel partner on the way back from Como, heading to Milan to the airport. So I got to hang out a decent amount with him.
He told me. Yeah.
Super awesome, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I'm glad to hear that. So should be fun for you guys. Okay, everybody, let us take a look at what the last piece of tonight's show and tell consists of. And because Eranga is primarily a commission collector, and I decided to throw a curveball and start the show without showing a commissioned piece, I decided to close out the show with a commissioned piece.
Okay.
And I love it. So let's take a look at what this one is.
Oh,
you sounded disappointed, man.
No, not at all. It's just I'm surprised. Like that's the one you picked.
Okay.
So Colton Worley, man. So this is an oil painting, right? He is tremendously talented. The guy is. Looking at this, he's got so much talent. Like I have a series of 3 from him, so kind of in the same vein on the gargoyle. I've got a Spider-Man 2099. I'm more partial to the 2099 piece. I love this. I'm just saying in terms of like my favorite stuff. But he's one of those guys that I think he's a little bit slower on the slow side. So there's people that are a little bit hesitant to kind of get stuff from him, but I can tell you he's not, like this was a pre-done piece, so I didn't commission this. Okay. So my navigation around it, again, it's very different for me, right? So I'm not necessarily a Spidey collector. Love the character, but I got a black suit, like a symbiote Spider-Man from him. And these are all like pre-done pieces that he'd put up for sale. And I have notifications set for whenever he posts. Yeah. So I just jumped on. I got this one. I got the Spidey 2099. I think right now my collection is up to, I don't know. I think I have like 6 or 7 pieces from Colton.
Wow. Cool.
I think he's tremendously talented. Hopefully one day, I think he's done some published stuff, not a ton. And this is massive, by the way.
Wow.
I think it's 18 by 24.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty
Yeah,
big.
it's 18 by 24. So,
wow. Yeah. Yeah, Carl's impressed with the 2099 piece. Listen, I just want to make it clear. It's very simple for me. Yes, the other one, it's great. It's just bottom line. I never I hate concepts that take place in the future for the most part. And so when I heard about the entire 2099 line back when I was still, this was at the tail end of my reading collecting, I was not a fan. And then when I saw, the first artwork that they were advertising for it, I was like, ugh, I didn't like the look of it. I was like, what kind of a Spider-Man is that? What a crap costume. So it's just a concept I never cared for. I never read it. It doesn't mean anything to me. So that was the easy reason why I said, you know what? I just want to show classic Spidey. And that's the only reason I chose this one. It wasn't for the artistic, that I thought, it's better or whatever piece,
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. It's I think I'm up to like 6. And I love 2099 because it was right there. Teenage me, badass. Freaking everything that you would think was badass about a character, at the time when Spidey was maybe getting a little bit, you're kind of, moving beyond that as a teenager.
Right.
So 2099 has, and I love both Peter David and Rick Leonardi. So that was, yeah.
That's like we said earlier in the show. It's not to judge anybody else. If you, of course,
you like what you like, man.
Yeah, for everything that one person loves, other people will hate, and everything in between, right?
Yeah.
And
yes, number one Marvel fan. It is on canvas.
Oh, okay, cool. That's very cool. Karen, no. Like I said, I wanted to keep the show to. We tried to keep it short, and obviously I failed again. But we did not show that one. But that's the beautiful thing about it being in his gallery. You can see it and much bigger, so you can enjoy it better there. Anyhow. The only thing you don't get by me showing it here is a potential story about it, whatever.
It's one of my favorites too, Karen. And I guess I don't know if Karen was there for that one. She's a DD fan.
Oh yeah, that's true. Karen, did you? We talked about that one early on. Sorry, where's my finger? Yeah, that one that Eranga is pointing at right over his right shoulder. That's a cool Daredevil piece by Gérard Parel, Mr.
Yes.
He lives in France.
He lives in Germany, actually.
Germany, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Well, of course, you came in late, so there you go. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, look at that. Oh, I'm just speaking of Jeff Singh, he just emailed me. I'm getting all these email notifications.
You heard me saying nice things about him.
Yeah, that must be it. Yeah. The Lord Chaos crap and New Titans was a future concept. Right. And I kept going with it because I was sold on the family of the Titans. They were my second family, Marcus. I loved the characters for many years, so I didn't want to give up on them as long as Tom Grummett was drawing it. I did not like that Lord Chaos crap. To be clear, I did not like it. Doesn't mean I won't buy the art from it, but the story, no, I did not. I was not a fan. So, Doc Brown would be very disappointed, and Rubén. What did I say about what?
Because you don't like future crap.
Oh, right. Well, I did love Back to the Future movies. Those, that's what I don't like is when, I guess to be more specific, what I don't like is when they use the, time travel concept to suddenly say, oh, they explain away that how did this happen? Oh, because that was the guy. That wasn't the guy you knew. No, that was the guy from that other dimension or the other reality. That's what I mean by the whole time travel concept opens up the can of worms of like multiple dimensions and alternate reality. So now there's different versions of the same character all over the place. And you can always write off any explanation by saying, no, that's because that was that one, not this one. I don't know. And it's confusing. I can't keep track of who's who, which version is what, whatever. That's just my thing. So I've never.
Why are you the enemy of fun, Rubén?
The enemy. I love that. The enemy of fun. Oh my God. Like, that's a horrible name. That's wow. Like you're putting it out there. Like, I don't like fun. I just generally don't like fun. Wow. That's harsh, but no, whatever. What can I say? I just that was never my kind of thing. But whatever, it is what it is.
Hey,
oh my God.
Jeff Singh. Just in time to say goodnight, Jeff.
Exactly. We were just talking about you, Jeff, a few minutes ago. If you want to rewind, first time he's ever. Well, look, Jeff was my guest on the very first Hangout episode. But I think, Jeff, you've never ever come in even for a second, or maybe you did early on. But anyways, lovely to see you. And I see that you just emailed me. So at some point later tonight, probably after I finish chopping up this episode of the chapters, I'll see if I can write you. But then again, maybe not until tomorrow because I got to write Eric and answer him. It's been a couple of days. Ruben's going to love that Madam Web movie. Oh, yeah. Like I said, Marcus, I stopped kind of watching most of the movies. I'm just not into the movies. Time Cop Out? What? Time Cop Out? Is that kind of a little play on words? A good one. I don't know which one. Oh, the joke he made on me. Okay. I'm the hater of fun. What was it? How did you put it?
Enemy of fun.
The enemy of fun.
You could even go a little bit further and color it up and say you are the mortal enemy of fun.
Mortal enemy of fun.
You are known as the nemesis of fun.
Future in space, barf. Oh, even another hater. Look at that, Eric. Future in space, barf. Back to the Future gets a pass, but generally he hates space and future. Look at that. See, I'm not the only one. I'm only the only one who usually admits it. Ruben says no to H.G. Wells. That's not true. That's not whatever. I read that H.G. Wells stuff way back as a kid, though, so I don't really remember much of it. It was cool back then, but yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of carve-out exceptions. The Future is fine. H.G. Wells is fine. You just don't like it in comics. You like it. I mean, if it's a self-contained story, it's different. But when you throw it in continuity in comics as a future leap, that seems to be where you're kind of going.
Yeah. And now, Jeff, you're kind of saying like my daughter would agree. She probably would, to be honest. I don't know, but that's only because she's not happy when I try to like rain on her type of fun that I don't allow her to have. So that's a different thing. Barf is a mog. I don't understand that at all, Mike. No, that's a weird one.
That's like Gen Z speak.
But anyways, everybody, we have come to the end of the show, and of course, we went way longer than I told Eranga we would. But I got to thank you all first of all for sticking around. Appreciate it very much as always. Eranga, just hang on for a minute, okay? Just don't hang up on me, all right? Sure. You guys who are going to the con next week and won't be here tuning in next Sunday, man, have a great time. Have a good fun. I know a lot of you will be able to meet a lot of us, not me, but the rest of us in person for the first time. So that's always a lot of fun. As I've said many times on my channel, that's kind of what I like most of all in this hobby is just kind of meeting and talking with people more so than looking for my next piece of art. So have a great time, all of you. Remember, those of you who are not going, just be aware that I'll probably be doing my show late at night next Sunday. And that's it. Eranga, again, thank you so much for doing this. I had a great time. I'm sorry it did go long, but I hope you had a great time anyway.
Dude, no, it's my pleasure, man. I mean, thank you for like kind of, giving me a forum to kind of speak about the art. It's also nice because it kind of takes you down on like memory lane with stuff you haven't seen or like thought about in a while. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I love the format of not knowing what's coming up and what you picked. And thanks to everyone in the chat for indulging me with your time.
We want Eranga, but you just got 3 hours of Eranga. How much more do you want from him? Thank you so much, all of you. Appreciate those of you who always tell me what a great time you had here. I'm glad you guys. That's what I do it for. I just want to have fun with some friends every week, and I just hope we do enough to let you have that fun. So really appreciate you. Have a good time there, Tommy. And nostalgia is time travel. It is in the past, in a way. I like the way you put that. I love it. Another great show. Thanks for sharing. Thank you, JC. Really appreciate you as always. Thanks for always being here. And your overseas viewers are still here next week. No, because they'd have to be kind of like waking up at, I don't know, maybe 4 in the morning or something. So probably not. There will be more Eranga at OAX next week. That's right. So
I will be there, chilling out.
There. Do you? I guess it doesn't even. I was going to say, do you know your booth number? It doesn't even matter because
we'll find you, man. I'll find you, Mickey.
Exactly. It's a kind of a small thing. It's not some huge convention or whatever in terms of like convention size, as it were. So that's one of your shows I've seen so far. Only because he came in the last 5 minutes.
For the last maybe 3 minutes.
Maybe 3 minutes. And because we mentioned them a couple of times. That's why,
I probably rewound real quick. Like, what did they say about me? Yeah.
Have a good time next week, Jeff. But of course, we'll talk by email before that. And thank you. Good night, Ian.
Good night, Ian.
Thank you, everybody else. I do not have a graphic thumbnail for next week's show. So we will say good night now. And that's it. Have a great time, everybody, as I said. And the rest of you who will not be going to the con, check you out here sometime, hopefully late night Sunday. All right?
Good night, guys.
Peace out. And go Lions, baby. Go Lions.